Welcome to the Ada K Show. I'm your host, Ada K, and I am a criminal justice major. I am also a deaf courtroom commentator, breaking down the gripping courtroom drama while providing full ASL interpretation, making justice accessible to everyone. Grab a cup of Java and let's dive in. Don't forget, comment, like, and subscribe. And if you love this channel, please become a member. Well, we're back. Part 2 of the Zachary Adams hearing today. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you court hopping with us today. It's been a little bit of back and forth, but that's okay. They took a break. They got a witness back on the stand. Unfortunately, the mic didn't work for a while, but they got it working. So we have been geared up, and we're going to start at that process. There have been no decisions made today, so we haven't missed anything. The biggest thing that we've talked about this morning was Cellbrite data. Basically talking about the cell towers and what could or could not actually be identified, meaning that there's a wedge that comes off 4 wedges, north, south, east, and west. And if you've got a wedge that's north, it's got a little arch here. It forms a circle, and you cut it into 4s. Whatever's in this wedge will show up in specific some areas within that wedge. Can it sit there and the cell phone tower data tell you that he was on Everett Street, taking a left-hand turn onto Water Street, and then took a right-hand turn onto Zach Street? No, you can't do that. Now, if you have something called Map 360, that can definitely do. Map 360 or some of these kind of GPS tracking things, they can do that. Cell towers will only get you within a certain area within that pie. And so if someone testified to contrary to that, then there's a problem with the testimony. Several things are being challenged. Some of the evidence is being challenged, but the bigger challenge, in my humble opinion, is that the lead attorney stated herself she was incompetent, stated that she was under mental duress and under depression, and was not qualified to handle a DP case. And in fact, that's what she was handling. So we're going to get back in.
Was it important to you for what was at trial exhibit 208 to present a complete and accurate description to the jury?
Yes.
Any reason why you would not fully describe to the jury the information the cell data reflects?
No.
Okay. If we can, the state's version is in color. Would it be possible for them to pull up their version?
151.
Yes, sir.
Report. Boy, how you're already doing this. Thank you. Page we're going to.
We'll go to page 8.
Page 8 is 151.
Okay. You agree that prior to 8 a.m. that Miss Bobo's cell phone was drawing from various towers that have historically been used for her home tower, for her, what is her home tower?
What do you mean her home tower?
The tower that her cell phone has coverage.
She uses multiple towers.
Okay.
Yes.
The point is, prior to moving north, I believe at 817, there's no indication that her cell phone was moving.
No, I can't say that because generally uses those towers there. Yes. So can I step down again?
Sure.
Your Honor. Yes. So yes, well, so uses this tower here in Chesterfield, the one in Parsons, the one in Scalable. For some reason, this one way down here in Scottsdale, that's not the one.
Okay. You read Mr. Reeves' report that said,
I want to thank everybody for hopping in. First of all, my mods, June and Angela. Angela, thank you for hopping in from across the pond in Sweden, Angela. One sunny day. Thank you for hopping in. Hello, Java Queen. Thank you for hopping in. All of you guys, we have go over to the Discord. Go to my YouTube channel and go under post, and you guys can vote for the golden gavel. Let me play that video really quick. Let me play that real. The gavel is polished, the robes are pressed, and the 2025 Golden Gavel Award officially is on the line. Who brought courtroom command? Who took chaos and put it in check? Who made us all say, now that's a judge? After 3 months of nominations, countless comments, and some very passionate courtroom debates, these four rose to the top. Judge Everett and Dan Markell trial, Judge Boriski, Lori Vallow Daybell trial, Judge Kranick, Sarah Boone trial, and Judge Boyd, San Antonio, Texas judge. This race is tighter than a hot mic in court. Cast your votes and help us decide who takes home the golden gavel. Yes, y'all. Go on over to the post section if you haven't already in our YouTube channel and place your votes, because it's close between two of them, and I don't want y'all getting mad if yours didn't win, if you didn't vote. So go vote on New Year's Eve. We will announce the winner. They will get a beautiful, I'll show it to you, little certificate that states that they have won the Golden Gavel Judge of the Year award for the Ada K Ada K media team here. And so, yep, but did you go and vote over in the actual poll? There's a poll put up. It's still there. Y'all can still vote. I know you keep repeating yourself, but that's okay. Doing well, Ada. Thank you so much for hopping in, everybody. Back to court.
from 5:04 to 11 a.m., there was activity on Holly Bobo's device on a variety of cells located in the Darden and Parsons area. Based on historic records, these are cells that typically provide service and around the Bobo residence.
I would agree with that, yes.
All right. So,
Oh, good.
11 a.m., no indication of movement of Miss Bobo's cell phone.
That's right.
All right. The Shiloh Road Tower, can you point to it? And to be clear, it has 360 coverage.
Yes, it does.
And so I believe I refer to it as 10961, 10962.
That's right.
All right.
On this one, that's depicting the two sectors.
Correct. And if you're close to these two towers, you can draw off either one. Correct?
Be more specific.
If a cell phone is close to the intersection between different sections of a tower, they can draw off either one.
So you're, make sure I understand.
Yeah.
So if you're close along this line here, so you could be sector 1 or sector 2,
Correct.
maybe, yes, maybe.
And you may have a seat. If the witness can be passed Exhibit 154, the diagram.
Your Honor, may I approach?
He's gonna bring an easel.
I'm going to put it on the board for us.
While he's doing that, I want to let y'all know, please go check your subscriptions. We've had a subscription drop. So, and I had somebody a couple of days ago private message me and say, why was she no longer subscribed? And if I unsubscribed them, no, I cannot unsubscribe anybody. That is you. I can hide you from the channel if you misbehave, but I cannot remove your subscription, nor can I remove your membership. So please, if you like this channel, support us for free. Go and subscribe. If you have subscribed and you haven't checked in a while, please go and check and make sure that you are still subscribed. Because I've also had someone said, well, they're no longer getting notifications. Well, somehow they got unsubscribed. We love YouTube. We really do. But that can happen. So please do your due diligence and check your subscriptions. And if you are unsubscribed, please resubscribe. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. And we do have memberships as well. Back to court. Why do you do that? You just hid the witness.
There's two types of reported information coming to conclude Holly's phone. First is cell phone activity.
That's right.
And there's cell phone activity on 8/17 and 8/26, correct?
Yes.
And I'm going to give you two red stickers that are marked 8/17 and 8/26. Can you put on Exhibit 154 at 8/17 what tower information or where? Okay.
I got it back. It's gonna be upside down.
Okay.
Now, that tower is off this map a little bit.
Okay. And 8/26, same thing. And you know how many feet, yards, or meters that area is located, is projecting from this tower?
No.
So you can't say on the map where along this potential route this cell phone's taking to track it, and I'm going to turn them upside down.
There you go.
8/17 and 8/26.
Well, we have a partial idea because of the ATT drive.
All right, we'll get to those pings.
Okay. No, it's not the ping. It's the drive they did.
The driver that John Walker participated in.
Yes.
Fair to say the going belief was the 8/17 was south and the 8/26 was north.
No. Both of them were south.
I'm saying direction of travel. 8/17 was further south than the 8/26. The 8/26 was north than the 8/17.
I can't say that because I don't know the sector coverage, how far south it goes. I don't know.
We know at 8/11 where the home is, that's south.
Yes.
Now, the next activity from the cell phone activity, not the ping, the cell phone activity is what time?
.906.
And what tower is that?
This truck stop tower on the sector,
I've got you a sticker, sir.
sector 3.
Place it. Okay. Now, your page 8 of your exhibit at trial ended at 9:06, correct?
On page 8, yes.
Why did it end at 9:06?
No more phone activity on the tower.
Okay. The 9:06 is at the last phone activity that somebody's calling Miss Bobo's phone.
Let me look. I think that's correct. Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. You would agree with me that if you start at Swan Johnson Road at the bottom left of this map, exhibit 154, if it hits 817 and 826 along the Shiloh Tower, direction of travel is south to north.
I can agree with that. Yes.
You agree on the ground there was no evidence found traveling northbound from the Swan Johnson Road to the Shiloh Road Tower.
I don't think there was. No, sir.
Then you can agree with me, the direction of travel seemed eastbound to get to the 906.
Yes.
All right. Now, what's the difference between the ping and the cell phone activity?
Okay. So the cell phone activity is when, use my phone again, just an example. I press send, it registers with the network. It's going to register with a tower and a sector where I'm receiving strong enough signal to communicate. That's the call detail record. A ping is when we're asking the network, can you reach out and find that phone and give us a location for it? And this one, these pings are only tower based. I want to make clear they're not satellite based.
And page 9 of your today's exhibit 151, you have 3 pings reflected, correct?
Yes, sir.
And why did you put these pings on this document to show the jury?
Because it's part of the record. We're trying to find their phone.
It's important, isn't it?
It is important.
All right, I'm going to hand you the first yellow number 1 to put where the ping is.
Well, you talking about the latitude, longitude they gave us for it? Or,
Yes, sir.
Or where the tower?
You have a general area reflected on page 9, and you can look behind you to see.
So that first one's going to be, I'll use 1 to be the marker. This is a guess. Right along in here.
And that area could come all the way down to the interstate, correct?
Yes.
Why don't you put it by the interstate?
That's not where the ping location was.
It says, but the location could be by the interstate, right? I'll give you a separate one.
Well, the location of what?
I'll give you 1A. And can you put within the area of the first ping close to the interstate? Within the coverage of the first ping.
I can.
And it's consistent with the data, correct?
What? Let me see if I understand. You said to put it for the location of,
Just by the interstate in the same circle as the first ping.
I can do that for you. So it's gonna be right along here.
Second ping. First.
I love how he says right along in here. Thank you for the love in
your exhibit
on
9.
Facebook. I'm going to eat. I'm listening.
It's not exhibit 9, it's page
I'm-
9
I
of
apologize.
exhibit 151.
And is where you've marked 2, is that close to the interstate?
Yes.
Now you have ping 3. And I'd like for you to put ping 3 where at first it's on page 9 of your exhibit today, 151. Now, if we look at what you've drawn, it appears the cell phone is traveling due east, correct?
Agreed.
All right. Now, with 3A, I'm going to give you 3A. Can you place 3A within the coverage tower as close to highway, I believe 641 as you can?
Say that one more time for me, sorry.
Place ping 3 as close to 641 within the coverage area. All right, now you can have a seat, sir.
Yes,
Now, if you're a jury and you're looking at that, whether the travel goes east or south depends on whether there's a fourth ping, right?
it can help. Yes, sir.
What do you mean it can help?
Well, so there is a fourth thing
Why is it not on the exhibit?
because we covered that in a different exhibit.
Again, for the record, no, a different page of the exhibit. We're talking about one collective exhibit, correct, with multiple pages.
Okay, we're starting at page 9.
I'll let him ask his questions and let's clarify these different pages. We're all still in exhibit 151, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. All right. Is for the fourth ping on page 10?
Is it on page 10?
Yes, sir. That's my question.
No,
Page 11,
no,
12,
no,
13,
no,
14,
no,
15,
no,
16,
no.
17.
Yes,
17 is the 925,
that's correct.
unrelated to the first 3 pings. Right?
So it's on a separate page by itself. Yes, sir.
Who told you to put that there?
Nobody.
All right, I'll give you number 4. Put the fourth ping where the fourth ping is.
Toriano, flip to page 17, please, so the court can see it.
We're lucky he's not in front of a jury because that behavior would not be tolerated in front of a jury. Just saying. This is the key evidence that they believe should have been shown that was not shown. And the way the evidence was presented, it showed biased, and this fourth ping was omitted from this part of the testimony, which they believed would have possibly created reasonable doubt. So there's one of the arguments right there. Cutie Patootie, by the way, very young attorney. But he is not, if this was a jury, they would be on him like white on rice. By the way, this is so good, and I cooked it.
And with a 4A, can you show the closest to 3A within the coverage area of 4? This fourth ping is. Now, Mr.
Since we've not been privy to all of the demonstratives, I'm assuming that blue heart is where the victim was.
Brazil, you can have a seat. Do you agree with me that these 4 pings taken together show the route of the pings in a clockwise direction, starting northwest, east, then south?
So I agree that it indicates that we know the phone went north, east, and then south.
Any idea why you put the fourth ping 19 minutes away on a completely different slide?
There is no reason.
Who told you to not have the 4 pings shown together?
I don't think anybody told me that.
You would agree the cell activity and the pings, you would agree with me, show from Swan Johnson Road, traveling north, east, south.
North, east, and south. Yes, sir.
Now, there was a period of time where there was no activity of movement that morning, correct?
There's a period of time where there's no activity on the network.
And where is that?
So the last one for that morning was 8:26.
You don't have to go anywhere. We'll give a quick recap. Okay, the Zachary trial is based on the latest coverage. No, let me do the ping first, and then we'll go into the trial. He is accused of red rooming Holly. Is it Holly Bobo? I think is the name. Is the omission of the fourth ping important in the Zach Adams PCR hearing? Definitely it is. It can be important, but only if the omission affects the fairness, accuracy, and completeness of the original trial testimony. What does that mean? Whether it actually mattered depended on what the missing ping would have shown and how the state used the cell data narrative in the trial. I'm hoping I don't have anything in my teeth, do I? The Holly Bobo case is the cell tower pings were used to place Zach Adams' phone in certain locations, supporting the prosecutor's timeline, corroborating Jason Autry's story. Now, Jason Autry has recanted his testimony. It implied movement consistent with an abductive narrative. If one of those pings were left out during the trial testimony, the question now becomes, did the omission make the state's timeline look shorter, cleaner, and more incriminating than it actually was? If yes, that's a mistrial, y'all. it contradicts the state's timeline. If the omission ping places the phone somewhere else inconsistent with the Autry's storyline, the prosecution's theory, then Brady level material. Brady, we're going to start screaming Brady. It shows the phone was stationary when the state claimed it was moving. That is huge in a mistrial. It will show that the phone is somewhere else impossible or unlikely. For example, if omitting the ping places the phone near Adam's home when the state said he was already in the woods, can't be in both places at one time. Now, what I mean by at home, it's like this wedge versus that wedge. Or if it was on this side of the wedge, but he was actually on this side of the wedge, and those wedges actually do overlap a little bit. So if we're at 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1 would be between 12 and 3, 2 would be between 3 and 6, 4 would be 6 and 9. No, 1 is between 1 and 3, 2 is between 2 and 6, 3 is between 6 and 9, and 4 would be between 9 and 12. However, 1 will overlap at about 11, 11:30 to about 3, 3:30. They do have some slight overlapping between the wedges. So if the pi wedge shows him close to 9 o'clock, that's where they place him in trial 1. But the new or the fourth ping places him at 11 o'clock. Y'all, that's a huge difference in miles. And if his home is, say, at 12:05 on the wedge here, that is very possible that he could have been in the home, because remember, it's not an exact, it's a radius. Even though you're between 12 and 3 and the radius, and he's like at 12:02 or 12:05, and the radius is 30 miles, then that can put him over here at 11, I don't know, 45. You get my drift. But it's a very important thing. It initially or it can intentionally or negatively been left out. That's another factor. If the defense can show the state knew about the ping and did not disclose it, that becomes a due process issue. False imprisonment impressions on a jury. It could be a misleading of expert testimony, incomplete disclosure, and ineffective assistance of counsel. Because if one council member got it wrong, but the other council member recognized that it was wrong and it was an inadvertent error, and the assistant counsel did not make the correction or get a hold of that person and say, hey, we got to correct this, you misspoke, then it's an overall it's a failure in counsel, and it's an ineffective assistance of counsel. And you can have that on the prosecution side as well as having it on the defense's side. Just saying, you can have it on both sides. The ping is redundant. If it's just another hit in the same tower, no new location information, we're okay. The ping is ambiguous. Hold on. Sorry, the monkey is shaking her cage. The cell tower pings are not a GPS. If its omitted ping does not meaningfully alter the radius of possible locations, it may not be prejudicial. So that is some information on that part. I could go on, but I think y'all got the point. This is very vital information. Very vital.
For the Shiloh Tower in that sector 2 that we were pointing at earlier. And then there's no activity, no outbound or inbound communication to her phone until 9:06.
And with this Pete Post-it note, sir, can you place it on the map where that is?
Where no activity.
The no activity.
Well, I can place this up there, but we just don't know where that happened.
Okay. Is it between the 826 ping? Do you have any data to suggest it's south of the interstate?
We don't have any of that.
All right. Why don't you place in this blue sticker where the body was found?
We could run on here. It's already indicated on here, sir,
Okay.
with a little outline, but I'll put it right up above.
And is that the same, is that in the same area where no activity was for 30 minutes?
Well, let me phrase it this way. So we know, can we go back to, was it page 8?
Sir, before you explain, can you say yes or no, whether it's in the same area?
You can answer the question with an answer. It doesn't have to be Mr. Bates' answer.
Okay.
Go to page 8, please.
Oops, told you the wrong page. Page 9, sorry. So at 8:26, we know that Shiloh Tower Sector 2 was used. Then from 8:26 to 9:06, we know there was no activity. At 8:57, we know when there's a ping here. And then at 9:02, we know there's this ping off the truck stop tower. This first ping, probably Sector 1 of the Shiloh Tower. So no activity. I can't tell you where it was. I just can't, all I can tell you, sir, is from 8:26 to 9:06, there was no network activity except for these two pings right here.
And where you were pointing was where the body was found.
In this overlap section, yes.
Now, you may have a seat, sir. From Swan Johnson Road up to where the body was found, there was no physical evidence thrown out or found whatsoever.
I'm not aware of anybody finding any evidence up that way except for Gooch Road.
Evidence between pings 3 and 4, there was evidence, sorry, between 2, 3, and 4, there was evidence found, correct?
Yes,
And at the last ping, there was multiple parts of evidence thrown out, correct?
the last one, number 4.
Yes, in that area.
Well, I know her phone was found down there and then her SIM card sometime later.
In her lunchbox.
The lunchbox was not inside ping 4.
What was?
That's huge. That actually goes against him.
Her house and the phone, her phone,
What evidence was by Gooch Road, if you know?
the lunchbox.
Okay. You would then surmise. Well, I'll tell you what. You're looking at what we've just created together. Do you remember looking at John Walker's map?
Yes.
Do you recognize we've recreated it today together? With one exception, he had 817 south of 826.
Can we look at it? Can we look at it?
The witness can be passed exhibit 4, please. See if you can project it. Exhibit 5, go 5. Exhibit 5, I apologize.
So ask me your question again, please, sir.
You agree, John Walker's map shows a general clockwise direction of travel beginning on Swan Johnson Road.
This map does, yes.
Identifies the area we've identified of no activity and where remains were found.
Her remains were found in that area, yes.
Continues a direction of travel with the cell phone east, then south.
Yes.
Now, have you traveled between cell towers in this area to see them?
Yes, I have.
How far do you think it took you to get from the Birdsong Tower to the truck stop tower?
Going down I-40,
Yeah.
6 minutes.
If you can refer, the witness can be passed exhibit 153. Now this is,
Excuse me, Mr. Bates, would there be any other, you might use it,
I might use it.
let's move it. Sure. It's strategically blocking, witnessing. I apologize here. Let's move it over, maybe right in front of the podium. Oh, we'll do it right behind the podium.
And you would agree this is a summary, exhibit 153 of Zach Adams' activity that morning.
Yes.
All right. Now at 8:19, Zach's cell phone receives his first activity from, I believe the last one was 4 a.m. in that ballpark, correct?
4:58, I think.
And let's at 4:58, what was the activity like prior to that?
I don't remember.
What are you
You don't
doing?
remember whether there was
Ooh, come here. You
multiple communications with Rebecca Earp between midnight and 4 a.m.?
I don't.
Do you remember testifying at trial about this?
No, I don't.
You remember being asked, page 1719, question 819. So this is the first time that morning that this phone is utilized. Answer, after the time you just established, there was some around midnight, hour later, some around the almost to 5 a.m.
Okay.
I believe if I remember right, 4:54 and 4:58.
Yes.
And you remember who it was with?
No, I can look.
If you have it in front of you, please.
So at 4:54, there was an outgoing SM or text message to, I don't know whose number that is. And then at 4:58, there's an outgoing call to 731-614, Brandon Williams phone.
You remember the midnight and earlier ones on your records?
No, sir, they're not.
Okay. The first record you have, well, let me ask this, the 4 o'clock records, what sector was it on?
Just a look. Sector 2, what we're calling the truck stop tower today.
And I call it 31522.
Yes, that's right.
All right. From 4 till 8:19, there's an incoming text message. And Zach is on what tower?
Same, 31522.
His home tower.
Yes,
And we know Holly's phone during that time, between 8:17 and 8:26, is at the Shiloh Tower.
it's using the Shiloh tower. We know that her phone used that tower. What were the times? 8:17 and 8:26.
And we know from the pings, which we've labeled 1 and 2, Holly's phone is west of Highway 641.
That's right.
Zach's phone is on his home tower,
That's right.
east of 641.
That's right.
Just like it was at midnight, 4 a.m., 8:19, 8:35, 8:37, 8:38. Correct?
Correct.
And I believe the sector 3 and sector 2 of this home tower would use both at times.
I think it's possible they could do that. The networks are designed to try to prevent that flip-flopping going back and forth.
The only answer you have is Zach wasn't with his cell phone. He can't be in two places at once, can he?
What do you mean?
He can't be on the home tower and on Shiloh Tower.
No, we know his phone didn't use the Shiloh tower during this 8:19 to 8:38 timeframe. He used the 31522.
Did you travel to the Birdsong Tower and see how close these sectors 39077, 39079, and 39078?
I've been to that tower, yes, sir.
Okay. We can go to exhibit, page 13 of exhibit 151. And if I'm correct, using your call log from 153, same data we've looked at with Mr. Reeves, between 10 on page 2 of page 153, Mr. Adams is,
I'm sorry. Page 2 of 153.
I apologize, page 2 of 153.
Yeah, oh, exhibit 153.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
And you would agree that in the top third, for 1032, Zach is on sector 7, and then 3 minutes later, he's on sector 9.
What page are we on? I'm a little
Page,
confused.
page 2.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And you can just turn behind you for
Yes,
reference. It's page 13.
Okay. May I stand?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I noticed when you were explaining the 3 minute difference, you did a loop like a U. Any reason why you did that to show his direction of travel?
No,
Because what's the quickest way to get from tower 39077 and 39079?
straight path up and back over up to the exit on I-40.
And if you're traveling from the Birdsong Tower to the truck stop tower, where Zach's home is just a little bit south of,
Yes,
the most direct route is the interstate.
yes.
And how many minutes does it take? Do you know?
Well, we're talking about exit 133, exit 126. We're talking 7 miles, 70, 75 miles an hour. So what's that come up to? 6 minutes?
Ish.
So from 1032, he's on sector 7. Can you point to sector 7, sir?
You mean 942?
No, sir. 1032. Birdsong Tower, sector 7.
Right here.
Now, per your diagram, per the state's exhibit 153, he's at Truck Stop Tower, sector 2, which is his home tower, correct?
Truck stop sector 2, yes.
And what time is he on Truck Stop Tower, sector 2?
So 8:19, 8:30, 8:35.
Sir, after 1032,
After 10:32,
page 2.
10:38,
And if you take 1038, subtract 1032, how many minutes do you get?
6 minutes.
You may have a seat. Can you look at the same phone calls that Mr. Adams is making between 10:03 and 10:35? You see these?
Yes, sir.
Did anybody you had meetings about this with the state, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did anybody say this? I have a question. If a heinous crime is taking place during this time frame, why is Zach calling granddaddy? Why is he calling his girlfriend? Did anybody say that?
I don't remember.
Good point.
Nothing further for this witness.
She's all stretched out.
Mr. Rizal, do we know when Holly Bobo was killed?
No,
Do we know when she was separated from her phone?
no,
Do we know when her body was dumped?
no.
With Johnny Walker's map, did you have a problem with the map or his opinion?
I have a problem with the map, sir.
Okay, tell me what's wrong with the map.
So using the ATT drive data, not every road was driven out there. So in my training, you have to drive every single road to get a full and complete picture of where all the cell towers coverage is. Second problem I have with this map is he mentions in his report that it travels up Prospect Road. So TJ Evans Road comes up top of the hill, Prospect Missionary Church is there, continues north on Prospect Road until it hits County Corner Road. Well, if you look at the drive that ATT did, they didn't drive from Prospect Church up Prospect Road all the way up to County Corner Road. So we don't know. We don't know what the covers look like along that road. Second thing is there's a lot of roads that just weren't driven. And the third thing is, again, This is something we were all wanting to try to do, to try to figure things out, to look for evidence, and it's just, as investigators, that's what we're trying to do, so I don't fault him for that. But there's no empirical data to go with this. So if there's signal strength or anything like that that was collected during that drive, I've never seen it. And so we just don't know what it looks like. So it's an incomplete picture.
You may. This is being shown in exhibit 154.
Mr. Fazell, Mr. Bates asked you to place markers regarding the pigs. Can anyone give an opinion as to where the phone was within that area?
No, sir. As I've said many times before, and I believe I said it in trial, and I'll say it here again today, we don't know where Holly's phone was. I can't pinpoint anybody's phone, not Mr. Adams, not Mr. Autry, not Mr. Austin's. I can't tell you where they were. All I can tell you is he used the tower, and he used the sector, and this is the direction this sector covers.
Those are questions, Judge.
Brief Bates, let's bring 150. Let's bring that. That's actually an exhibit. Mr. Boyd, I don't know if we bring that back to court order.
Ms. You said you could not pinpoint Mr. Adams' location. And so when he's on the southbound tower of Parsons at 11:16 a.m., it's a big area, right?
Yes.
You don't know if he's driving around or what he's doing.
No, sir, I don't.
It's not like surveillance video. It's time stamped, is it?
No, it's not.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Fazell. Thank you. Sir.
Yes.
Sit down.
Yes, sir, and I'm dismissed. Yes, sir, thank you.
We're right at the noon hour.
Yes, sir.
These two go together.
Take a break or we can move on.
This one.
The state would request we move on.
All right, Mr. Bates. Oh, no,
State calls Mitchell Hayes.
Real quick, this is not marked, was this an exhibit?
maybe a copy of one of the exhibits. It's exhibit 150.
Yeah.
That's 151, I think. That's just a copy.
I don't have a copy, so I need it.
All right. Let's also
Yeah.
make sure that that is a complete copy.
Yes,
We're gonna do that.
we're gonna go color copy, complete color copy for the court. Yes, sir.
We'll give you a complete color copy.
And what number is that, just so we all have our, thank you.
That witness wasn't.
Mitchell Hayes.
Okay, we have people popping in and out, so I want to kind of give you what we've learned thus far in the trial today. And by the way, this here is Soxy. She's going to be 16 years old, but she's in amazing health for a 16-year-old. So we found that Zach Adams took the stand and denied ever confessing. That was before it went live. The testimony and legal arguments continued. There's no ruling as of yet. Bottom line, Zach testified denying his confession. Testimony and arguments continue. No rulings. What we have been following a lot of is this cell phone data. So that has been a huge focus today. The big thing was the fourth ping omission was central in today's testimony. Removing that ping can make mistakes in the timeline, makes it more, or it can make it more consistent or inconsistent, more incriminating or more decriminating. It just depends on where it is placed and why it was not brought up. If the missing ping contradicts the state's route or timing, it becomes material. If the PCR question is not, does it prove innocence? The question is, did the jury hear a complete and accurate picture? That is what is important in this hearing. The defense has highlighted that the cell phone data was presented as precise. Today's testimony emphasized the state portrayed the cell tower hits as highly reliable, directional and movement tracking, but in reality, the ping shows tower connections, not exact locations. Coverage area overlaps, and phones can hit a tower miles away depending on load of the signal, meaning how strong or weak the signal is. Also, your elevation can hit a further tower. Your elevation, as you go up and down hills, for example, can affect which tower has your ping. And it also, if the omitted ping shows the different towers or timing, it exposes overstatements of precision, misleading expert framing, and potentially ineffective assistance of counsel. The cell data was used to bolster Autry, and today undermines that. Autry, the key witness, also confessed that his testimony was inaccurate and wrong, and he has recanted his testimony. The cell data was incomplete, and the entire corroboration collapses. Today's testimony suggests that the timeline may not be as linear as the jury was told, and that is a huge part of this. The judge's questions today shows interest in the cell data integrity. Bottom line, what we've learned, the fourth ping omitted in the timeline. The omission may disrupt the state's narrative of movement. The state presented the data as more precise than the accuracy actually is. They omitted the ping may undermine Autry's cooperation, especially now that he's recanted. He's pulled back his testimony. The judge appears to be taking a very deep interest in the cell phone data precision. So that is where we are at this point in the game. So let's get back into trial. Next witness. By the way, y'all, it is so cold in here, I can't get my bones warm. My feet are freezing, and I've got them thick socked under blanket. You name it, I got it going. I got a natural heater right here, and she's cold. We are both sharing the fabulous blanket that my amazing mods gave me for graduation, along with other things. Oh, she's buried her head. Her nose is cold. Also want to thank Honey. Thank you, Honey 2800, for being such a fabulous mod. You have been an amazing support to this channel, and I just wanted to take a minute to shout you out and say thank you. Kitty says, thank you. Right? She's so loving this. And she doesn't do this very often. Appreciate you, boo. And get my feet warm. When you have arthritis, that sucks even more. I need one of those foot warming things. That's what I want. What I really, really want. What I really, really want. I'm fun. Oh, girl, when you want to see fun, you should have been on earlier. We woke up to no water. My son thought I didn't pay the water bill. I knew I paid it. The cat got into a fight. Nala has been on her period. She's in good morning. Gremlin. I know, boo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Would you please tell the judge your name and spell your first and last names for the court reporter?
Mitchell Hayes.
I love her accent.
Hell, Hayes, Hayes.
Where do you live, Mr. Hayes?
Lexington, Tennessee.
What do you do for a living?
Lexington,
I
Tennessee.
weld for several different utility departments. I'm an independent welder.
How long have you been in that line of work?
Oh, forever. That's what my daddy was doing. I graduated high school doing it. So,
All right, so your father did it, now you're doing it.
yes.
Do you travel around doing it?
Yes.
What area?
I work from Madisonville, which is full of Smoky Mountains, down
Yay!
to Memphis, Mississippi and Alabama, little in Kentucky.
We'll take you back to April 13th, 2011.
Yes.
You remember that day?
Yes.
Was it a Wednesday?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
How many?
3.
What are their ages now?
The boy's 29, the twins are 26.
Back in 2011, did they attend school?
Yes.
And at the time, were you living with their mother?
No,
What was the situation?
we were divorced. I lived, the kids stayed with me mostly because I lived next door to my mom and dad, and it was real easy if we needed a babysitter for them to walk over across the yard.
Hang out with grandma and grandpa?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
long had that been the arrangement with your ex-wife and your children and living and you having primary custody?
Somewhere, best of my recollection, 12 to 18 months at the time I'd been divorced.
Did you have a routine on Wednesdays?
Y'all, I found what I want, what I need. Not what I want, but what I need. I have arthritis, RA, in my feet, and when it gets cold, I'm in excruciating pain, like right now. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at getting. Put my feet in there. It's got the little massagers. The massagers aren't as important to me as the heat is, but it has a decent rating. Decent. So that's what I'm talking about getting.
Well, if I was off, I'd take the kids to school and I'd either go fishing or hunting, whichever was open.
All right. Where did you like to fish?
When I crappie fished, I went to the tie yard a whole lot down.
Or this one. I think I like that one better because I can use it like a footrest. All right, back to this. Now he's going to be talking about going fishing and how many fish he caught, how big the fish was, how little they was.
Around the interstate.
All right. And for those of us that may not know what the tie yards are by the interstate, what are you talking about?
It's the body of water when you start over the interstate going east to be the body of water to your right before you get to the Tennessee River.
Tennessee.
It just actually hit just a little strip of land between the river and that body of water.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor? I'm showing the map. Do you recognize what I've handed you?
Yes, ma'am.
What is
I
it?
miss my accent.
It shows the tie yard and the road coming down beside the interstate, which accesses the body of water.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like that marker.
Objection, Mr. Mays.
That's fine, Your Honor.
Next number to give it.
155.
Yes, ma'am. Projected on that screen is that similar, over your left shoulder? Yes, sir, sorry. Is that similar to what you're looking at?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And that shows the tie yard.
Yes.
Do you remember the weather that day?
It was fair. It was rather odd that when I showed up, there's nobody on the water other than me, but because it's usually prime crappie season, but it was one of those days I've had that type in my time or two, but it was just odd that day that there was nobody else on the water, but it was pretty nice weather.
Do you remember about what time you got down there?
Between 8 and 8:30 would be my recollection because I did drop the kids off at school that morning.
All right. I think there is a pointer near the witness. If you could, for the benefit of the judge, you could step down for me, Mr. Hayes, and when you got down to the river, as you said, where did you go first?
I come down this road here, made this turn, come into the boat ramp, which is this area here.
Was that your normal practice?
Yes.
What kind of boat did you have?
At a, 1448 aluminum craft, I think is what it was at the time, with 25 horse Johnson two-stroke motor on.
Oh my goodness. All right. For those of us that don't know what all those words mean, is that a big boat, medium-sized boat,
It's
small boat?
it's a medium-sized boat.
Okay. Is it primarily for fishing?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a quiet boat, a loud boat?
The two-stroke motor is, it's not real quiet. It'd be rather noisy to have a two-stroke motor.
Okay. And you're saying a two-stroke motor?
Yes,
What
that
does that
means
mean?
you have to mix the gas and oil together for it to run, sort of like a chainsaw.
Okay. Is that what leads to the higher level of noise?
Yes.
What car were you in or truck?
I was, see, at the time, I think I had a 08 Dodge 3/4 ton. I think that's what I had at the time.
And did you pull your boat behind your
Yes.
truck? Was it flooded down there? Did you have trouble getting down there?
No, it was not flooded.
Was there lots of vegetation around that kept you from being able to perhaps see other cars or other people?
Yes, when you're going up this area here, you'd have, there's vegetation that grows up all through here. And you've got vegetation on these two strips of land right here that would make it impossible to see the road from here on this side, which that's the side you'd be going up to fish.
And again, because I wasn't paying attention, and I'm sorry, where on that map are the tie yards?
This.
Pay attention.
Considered, the whole thing is considered a tie yard.
All right, and is that descriptor, tie yards, is that commonly used in this area?
Yes.
If you said tie yards at a local restaurant, would they know what you're talking
If they
about?
fish, they know exactly where to go.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So you put it
True,
in
Sarah.
there,
This end here is the ramp.
and then where did you go?
I usually kick my trolling motor on and start fishing up this area. And somewhere between this area and this area, I usually kick the big motor on to run on up to start fishing this end and this little cut across here.
Okay, there's some words below where you just pointed to.
Wood.
Say pond gut,
Yes,
what is that?
that's the main body of this water here.
Okay, so just a little, and I'm sorry, were you floating which direction, north, south, east, or
I'd
west?
be going north.
Okay, so north of the words pond gut on that map is a little cut in that you just.
Yes, right here.
And that's where you were trying to get to?
Yes, that over in here.
Okay, y'all. She's saying water is water. Water sounds almost like word. Word. I can't do it. Water. If it sounds like the word word and they're pointing to a body of water, she's talking about water. 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 Yeah, I know that's my native accent, y'all. Water.
There's always a good spot up through here, in this area right in here had lots of bushes and the water was always a good spot to fish.
Okay.
Water.
And did you get there?
Yes, eventually.
All right, how long did it take you to get from where you put in, unhitched your boat? What all did you have with you? Did it take you a minute to unpack your?
No,
car,
I just
truck?
had everything in the boat, had a crappie rod and one short rod and reel, is all I had, and I kept it in the boat.
All right, pretty
Yep.
lean and efficient. All right, how long did it take you to get to that little inlet where you put in?
Most of the time, if you was fishing it pretty slow, somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 35 minutes, according to where you cranked up the big motor at.
Okay, and were you fishing it slow that morning or
Yes,
fast or medium?
I always fish this area up through here till I got in here, usually cranked up because there's nothing here and it's pretty shallow where this is washed out across here. And I'd usually crank up somewhere right here and start easing up to this point.
At this point, on this morning, April 13th, 2011, did you see anybody else out there?
No, I did not.
Okay. How long did you stay in that little cut-in and fish?
That I couldn't say, it's been so long. I mean, it could have been
Okay.
30 minutes, it could have been an hour and a half, just according to how it was going.
Sure. Did
Whether
you
I will
leave
catch a
that-
fish or not in the water.
Is there a reason?
I just fished on around until I got to this sort of goal. I'd usually head back out somewhere 12 or 12:30 to head back to get some lunch, to work, be home and get the kids when they got out of school.
Okay. Is that what you did that day? Did you
Yes.
just fish for a little bit and then you left at noon?
Somewhere, 12, 1 o'clock, I'd head back because it'd take me a little bit to get back to the house.
Okay. But on this particular day, did something different happen?
Yes.
What was that?
I heard a gunshot somewhere or another when I was going up in this area here. Then I cranked up and run on up because I didn't really think nothing about it at the time.
Was it usual to hear gunshots in that area when you were fishing?
No, that is a federal game reserve and hunting was prohibited there.
Okay. Is it fair to say that that stuck out in your head?
Yes, it was just something that stuck as odd for a long time to hear.
But you didn't stop fishing?
No, because I mean, it was over there and I was over here.
All right. Did you hear anything else after that?
No, not that I can recall.
All right. Did you go back down the way you went up the body
Yes,
of water?
yes, eventually when I left, to come back, I had to bring the boat back this way to get to the ramp to load up.
All right. You can have a seat. Do you know about what time it was when you got in your truck? Do you even remember today?
I'm thinking it was 1:15 and headed out.
Okay. You heard the gun. Did you go back? Did you have a phone with you? Cell
Uh,
phone?
I probably had one, I don't know if it'd been on me or the truck, because cell phone service down there at the time, you couldn't call out.
Okay. So it really wouldn't have served much of a purpose?
No, you had to get on up on the hill toward the main road before you could actually use the phone.
Okay. Did you call the police when you got back in your truck and say, I heard a gun down the river?
No,
Did you turn the radio on?
yes.
What did you hear?
Well, during the breaks, I was hearing an Amber Alert go out for Decatur County for Holly Bobo.
Did it occur to you that morning on April 13th, 2011, I just heard a gun at the Tennessee River, wonder if that has anything to do with Miss Bobo?
Not really, it'd been so far from Parsons.
Sure. Was anybody in the Amber Alerts or any news media reporting, we think Miss Bobo might have been taken down to the Tennessee River?
No, nothing that I'd heard.
I'm gonna ask you, you still holding that
Yes.
map? I'm gonna ask you my approach, Your Honor.
You may.
I'm gonna ask you some stickers. And if you could mark on there, is there a pen up here? Nope.
No.
All right, I'm gonna give these to you. You can pick whatever color you want. I'm gonna hand you a pen. If you could mark TY for where the tie guards are, where you got into the water.
Okay.
And then stick it on that map, wherever that was. And then whatever color you want to use, if you could mark on that map GS for where you were when you heard the gunshot.
It would be approximately somewhere up this first line of trees before I got to the gap would be my best recollection, because that's when I'd have cranked up my big motor to get on around where I was going.
Yes, sir.
And it was before I got to use the big motor.
All right. And I apologize, Judge, I should have had him do that before I moved that into evidence. Okay. Do you want me to substitute another?
Breathe. Thank you, Maud, so much for my graduation gifts. I love them. You were so awesome. One thing that didn't make it on here because it arrived later was an awesome Highlander coloring book, which I'll be coloring and posting. Hey, I may color those and send those out to my viewers as little special gifts. And you know what? That no sound worked very well. Isn't that awesome? That worked well. Thank you again, Mods. Love you.
Sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna have to do it as well, so.
Okay.
Oh.
Is that all you got?
Yes, sir. All right. You got back in the truck. You hear the Amber Alert.
Yes.
Didn't think anything about it.
Not really. Matter of fact, I made a phone call and I don't remember who to find out what was going on, because I'd done lots of work down at Decatur County and Parsons over the years, and I was just trying to
Decatur County?
find out. I don't even know who I called. but I made a phone call and they told me what had happened, and I still didn't know who it was. And I went on home.
Is it fair to say that the abduction and disappearance of Holly Bobo, well, let me ask you this. Did the abduction and disappearance of Holly Bobo occupy the media for the next couple of days and weeks and months?
Oh, yeah.
Did it occupy the minds and the activities of the people that lived in this area for the next couple of days and weeks and months?
Oh, yes.
June will read these when I get back.
Anyone, hey, wait a minute. I heard a gunshot on April 13th, 2011 at the Tennessee River.
Well, I'm going to back up. That was the year that me and my wife got married. And we'd always sit and talk. So that happened in April, and we got to dating. I said we got married. We started dating that year in September, and we'd always sit and talk about where we was at when this come about. And so
I'm sorry, when what came about?
when the abduction of Holly come about.
You two would sit around and talk about
Yes.
where you work.
Yes, and I'd always told her I was at the tire yard, and she said for some odd reason I was at work that day, because that's usually the day she's off work. And we'd sit and talk about it, and still the gunshot had still never come into play till I was listening to the news one night and heard them telling that that's where this took place and that they'd shot. And then that's when I realized the shot that I heard had something to do with this.
Do you remember what year that was? Did you put it together?
When they was having the trial. So that would be what, 16, 17? I don't forget when the trial.
Was in 2017? Would that sound about
That
right?
would, yeah, 16 or 17. I couldn't remember when the trial was, but yeah. And then shortly after that is when I run into Agent Brent Booth and was telling him where I was at and what happened,
Okay.
and then what I'd heard.
Okay. And how did you know, or did you know Agent Brent Booth?
Yes, I did, from being there at home.
Okay. Are y'all from the same town?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you known him?
As far as I can remember, his daddy used to own a restaurant there, and my sisters, he was a couple years ahead of my sister, which is older than me, in school. I mean, I've just sort of known him my whole life, so I just seen him at a restaurant. We was talking, and I told him where I was at and what I'd heard.
Do you remember what year that was? When you told him?
It would have been right after the trial, so it had been in 2017.
Or even later, perhaps?
Yeah, it could have been a little later.
I'll pass the witness turn.
Cross-examination, Mr. Davis.
Yes. Thank you. In 2011, who were your kids' teachers?
One of them would have been in high school. The others were, well, you're asking me a question there that I'm not going to really refer to, because I might tell a story since my mama worked over at the school, and they had and just had retired. So they was a different bunch of teachers over there. At the time, they had like 3 different teachers in the grades.
Okay. What grade were they twins in?
Sure, 2011. You gonna make me back up here?
You don't know without doing the math?
They're probably
No.
5th or 6th grade.
You don't know.
Well, no.
What school?
Long time ago.
All right. Where's Beaver School?
North end of Henderson County at Parker's Crossroads.
All right. And what time did you drop off in the morning?
About 7:45.
All right. And would you have your truck with your boat hitched?
Well, yeah, because I didn't live 3 minutes from school.
Okay. And from the school to the boat ramp, how far is it?
Sir, 18, about 20 miles.
20 miles. And did you always drop off at 7:45?
Between 7:30 and 7:45.
All right. So you're fishing that morning and nobody else is out.
Nope.
It's not uncommon during the middle of the week for the traffic to be less.
Yes.
All right. And did you tell anybody you were fishing that day?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
You then heard a gunshot.
Yes.
Was it loud?
Yes.
Was it echoing?
Somewhat down the water, it did.
I'm gonna play you.
Look at that smirk. You know, I would love to play poker with him because I'd eat his lunch. He cannot keep a poker face. He knows he's got some information that he believes is incriminating coming up. He just can't hide his emotions. By the way, y'all, I am going to have to leave in a little bit, take my son to work. I picked him up and took him to the ER and left his car at work. My mods, I hope y'all be able to just run it. I won't be gone but 30, 45 minutes if this is not done in time. Okay, guys?
If I can have some technical assistance.
Technical assistance. What you doing, Mama Kitty? Come here. Let's roll you. Let's roll you.
What we ask you to do.
Oh, you're so warm. You're so warm. She is so warm and she's purring. She's so happy. Look at his face. Let's see if you can hear her. Can y'all hear her? She's just so happy. She's just so happy kitty right now. Her little paw.
I may have the remote.
We both are enjoying it together. It's wrapped.
Let me ask you some questions. This was during.
The blanket's wrapped around my legs, and then the corner of it's wrapped around her. Yeah, it's a nice blanket. It's a nice little blanket, nice and warm, but not heavy for her. So yeah, we enjoying it. It's soft. Yeah. Yeah, you happy kitty. Oh. I can feel that vibration.
Season.
Yes.
And
Turkey season.
Not the entire area on this map is the federal refuge, correct?
You're asking a question I don't know about who owns what.
Well, it's your map.
Okay, so right now he's now saying it's hunting season, and what you heard was a hunting shot.
Who created it?
I just know all the water in the area around that is Federal Reserve. I don't have nothing that shows anything, no maps on there.
Who created the map then? You authenticated it. Who created it?
Don't
I
know.
just said that the reserve was with the water. I don't know who owns what.
Who created the map, sir?
I guess the
Don't
federal
know.
government did because there's a federal game reserve down there.
Who printed the map to bring today?
They printed the map.
Okay, so you
No.
didn't create this map.
No.
You don't know if it's accurate or not.
Looks
it looks like
accurate.
the one I've always looked at
What map is that?
on the phone.
Okay, on your phone,
Yes.
and you don't know how close the refuge is and what other properties there are on this map.
Well, I just know that there's a gate on this here that if it's flooded or if the refuge is closed, you can't get into it.
Fair. You've heard gunshots before.
No,
You've never heard gunshots in turkey season,
not there.
but you fish other places along the river
Yes.
and you hear other gunshots.
You know, other than during duck season, I really had.
Okay. And turkey guns, are you familiar with turkey guns?
Yes,
And what
Yes.
guns do they shoot? You shoot
a shotgun.
The shotgun.
high powered 12 gauge, 10 gauge.
Well,
Yeah,
from a 14
pen.
up.
You know, turkey hunter who does?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, you have any idea how close you were?
Nope.
You don't really know what direction it was, do you?
Just knew it come from to the north of me because it echoed from the water that way is all I can say.
You don't know if it was on private property or refuge.
No,
Was it, say, less than 2 football fields, more than 2 football fields?
that would be hard to say with echo and, that'd just be
Okay.
hard to say.
We're gonna listen.
Oh, now they want to identify the sound from years ago.
What are we playing here, Mr. Mayor?
Your Honor, if I can label it afterwards, I'll explain it if I can not label
It's
it.
one of our already admitted.
It's already admitted. Yes, Your Honor. Do you remember hearing overhead traffic?
Oh, yes, you hear it.
Okay. And the gunshot was louder than the overhead traffic?
Yes.
Okay. That's not an echo, correct?
No.
And that's not what you heard?
Well, I don't know when it's been over recording.
Well, let's back it up. You said it echoed.
It
Yes.
did.
We just listened to something. You said it didn't echo.
Yes.
Fair to say that's not the type of thing you heard.
I don't know if we was in the same spot when I heard it, and the
Fair
direction
enough.
and the direction of the wind makes a difference.
Fair enough. What was the direction of the wind that day?
No, that I don't know.
Did Brent Booth tell you?
No,
What all did you and Brent Booth say that day?
nothing
Nothing. Did you
Other-
record the conversation?
other than what I talked to him. We was at a restaurant and he was sitting there with some more agents. I just spoke to him, went on and sat down at my table.
When's the last time you talked to Brent Booth?
Oh, it's been, see, I'm trying to think, 3 or 4 months ago.
3 or 4 months ago. Interesting. What would y'all talk about?
I was working where he was working at now, and I just run into him. We sat down and had lunch.
What'd you talk about?
Nothing in particular.
Talk about the case?
Not really.
When you say not really,
I mean, he just asked me if I heard anything from the DA and all, they'd be in contact. I mean, that's really all it said.
so Brent Booth told you the DA would be in contact with you.
Eventually, yes.
Did you talk to him about possible reward money?
No.
Now, you married Candy Helms Hayes, correct?
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
And you're aware that she was Facebook page follower of Justice for Holly.
Oh,
Are you aware?
Not really that she was a follower of it, but if you say so. I don't go through her Facebook page, so I mean, you'll just have to.
that's a question for her, sir.
Stipulate that this man's wife has a Facebook page. Has a banner
He
on it.
hasn't denied it, I don't think.
And she was.
You
that
can't
before
bring
we
it
got
in.
married, So I mean,
Right. Can you,
He's not denying it.
Stipulate that she was.
Okay, first of all, they cannot bring in evidence that he has no knowledge of. That then becomes hearsay because, and he says right here, and she was that before we got married. So I don't know when she became. It was before we got married. She could follow it. Yeah, whatever. If he doesn't have personal knowledge, they cannot bring it in, and they're trying to bring it in anyway. Nice try.
Follower of
How's this
his
roll?
Facebook page.
okay.
I'm objecting to
He's
the
still
objection.
wanting, he's still wanting this.
Yep.
Okay, now we have an objection. We have an objection to this being entered, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's not denying it. These have no relevance.
It's relevance for multiple things, bias and the circumstances of him coming forward.
Well, I'm not sure what the content of this document is.
It's following Justice for Holly in 2014.
If he has no personal knowledge of it, what matter does it make?
You and the Bobos have mutual friends, correct?
I guess not. I mean,
Adam Hayes, who's Adam Hayes?
He's a guy.
All right, y'all. People have friends of people that have friends of people. In this day and age, it's kind of hard not to.
I
Saying,
worked with down in Parsons, Tennessee before, and or with a contractor, and he works at, I think, West Tennessee Public Utility District now.
And who's his wife?
And
Who's his wife?
that, I don't know.
Okay. Are you aware that Adam Hayes is friends with Clint Bobo?
Objection,
No,
Your
I don't-
Honor.
I don't know. I'm sure I know lots of people's friends with him. I don't know.
Again, it's proven bias,
I'll
and
allow him a little bit of leeway here.
you have
He did
mutual.
not know the wife of this Mr. Hayes.
Correct. You have mutual friends with the Bobo family.
Yes, I'd say, I guess I do.
And you want us to believe your wife, who was following Justice for Holly, 2014. Y'all got together in 2014. You never once came forward.
Oh, I've told her a bunch of times I was at the tie yard.
And you never said the gun.
It had no relevance to the case till I heard it on the news.
How soon? And you're saying you heard it on the trial.
Yes. That's when I realized what I'd actually heard.
Prior to that time, you had never came forward and told anybody about hearing a gunshot.
Nope.
ding, 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 ding. There's your new evidence. This is what new evidence looks like. He saw the parts of the trial and realized, oh crap, I have knowledge. Hence, new evidence.
Did not see where a gunshot had any reference to anything that was important till I heard that on the trial.
And you still didn't come forward.
Well, the trial was about over when I heard it on the news. So,
But it wasn't over.
well, I mean, I still didn't know who I was supposed to contact about nothing.
But you have been friends with Brent Booth for a long time.
Well, that,
You have his cell phone? You have Brent Booth's cell phone.
yes, I think I do.
Nothing further.
But doesn't mean he would have known to tell him. There are a lot of people, guys, who don't have the knowledge that you and I have. There's a lot of people out there who really don't have involvement with the law. They're not criminals. They live their life. They just country pumpkins. Yes, I'm a country pumpkin. I call myself one. And they don't have the wherewithal or the knowledge of who to call when and where. And I understand why he did the way he did. Doesn't mean he's trying to be evasive or doesn't mean he's trying to manipulate. Doesn't mean anything. He heard the gunshot. He recognized later what it was and what was going on, possibly going on, allegedly happening. And he didn't know what to do with the information. That happens all the time.
Is it fair to say that there were Justice for Holly signs all over town?
They were all over Lexington, Decatur County, everywhere you just about look in West Tennessee.
And do you remember when you first heard about the gunshot one? Where were you? Or the gunshot, rather, where were you?
I think I was in my mom and daddy's house standing there and she had the TV on. And my first words was when he said he's at the tie yard and there's nobody there, I told Mama, I said, he's lying because I was there. And then when he said the gunshot, I had to sit down. I told Mama, I told Daddy, sitting there, and he looked at me and I said, I heard the gunshot.
You heard a man say something about the tie yard. Do you know who that man was?
Sure. Archer, when he was on stand.
Was he sitting in that stand
Yes,
in this courtroom?
yes,
Did you know him?
no.
Nothing further.
No recross.
Hayes, thank you for your testimony, sir.
But here's the problem. All right, this is a prosecution witness. Here's the problem. Autry said that he's recanting his entire testimony, but here's the thing. His testimony may have been truthful, and he may be lying now. He may have been lying then and being truthful now. That's what they've got to ascertain.
Let me see this, the map first, before you step in.
Oh,
He did this
My little girl here, look at her. She's all comfy.
GS gunshot area where he claims he heard gunshots.
Thank you. And that's exhibit 155.
155.
No recross. Summarize this case.
That was a quick lunch break. Let's watch them come in. Well, my monkey just wants attention today. I'm going to have to get her out tonight. Yes, I'm going to monkey up tonight, Miss June. I will put, if I get her out and she's behaving, I'll bring her on live in Discord.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. And Your Honor, would the court permit if anyone comes in late to be allowed in during closing? Is that-
Sorry.
Your Honor, I'm going to break my argument down into 4 parts for the court, but before I do, I must say what part of this case is not in dispute. That is that Ms. Holly Bobo and her parents and friends and family are the people who make West Tennessee a special place. The horror of April 13th, 2011 remains an unmitigated tragedy, and nothing I say diminishes that. An outrage that this crime took place is not relevant in these proceedings. The 4 parts to my argument are the story of this case. I'm going to address constitutional violations. I'm going to address the proceedings themselves, these post-conviction proceedings themselves, and end discussing the obligation that the court has. Before I get too technical in the legal arguments, I'd like to just summarize this case. April 13th, 2011, a beautiful young nursing student was taken from her home, traveled in a clockwise manner until her cell phone stopped traveling for 30 minutes. This is where U.S. Marshal tracking expert suggests she was killed. No evidence before that was found along a route. A bullet consistent with a defect in her skull was found next to her remains. Evidence was thrown out for personal belongings from that location along the route that ended at Gooch Road. Most of her personal belongings were found next to her remains. I will not belabor the evidence that made law enforcement and General McAdams submit there was probable cause that Terry Britt committed this crime. Britt had a search warrant served on him and installed, while he was briefly incarcerated, various wiretapping and bugging devices. Soon after he returned, he was told they probably are bugging you. Nothing happened. 2011 turned into 2012, turned into 2013. This case was becoming a cold case. Terry Britt told Marshal Walker to get an agreement giving him certain prison time. He just wanted his wife Janet kept out of it. He was not Mirandized. He took 15 years on old charges that Janet Britt was let out. By the way, if he had been serving for that crime that happened in Madison County, he would have been incarcerated on April 13th, 2011. In the words of Brent Booth, this case is haunting. As time developed, TBI blamed the Bobo family. The Bobo family blamed TBI. Nobody could blame them. What follows that began in late 2013 can only be explained by
He's going to say TBI a lot. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, for those who don't know.
understanding the juxtaposition of impenetrable truth that scientific data provides and the manipulative propensity of what people say. And these people who are either scared, want reward money, or have their memory replaced with inferences and impressions to regurgitate or, quote, nail down. Enter Dennis Benjamin. He begins working with TBI head agent Jack Van Hoosier, retired cop, becomes the go-between between the Bobo family and TBI. His job was to get some arrest. Enter Sheila Kilser. Her son was arrested with Jason Kilser. Put aside that both Sheila and Jason had already denied knowledge or involvement. Sheila and Jason get law enforcement to believe Dylan knows more. TBI pounces. Even though what Sheila heard was false, TBI begins the belief that continues throughout that they have the omnipotent superpower to know what the truth is. And thus anything that points to arrest is true enough to further their aim. This is a central theme of everything you've heard. Dylan is pressured from jail. He gets a sweetheart deal, the contents of which are under seal. I will not discuss that. I would just ask the court to read it.
So Dylan gets a sweetheart deal? That's one way to put it.
A word about Dennis Benjamin. He had been told in February of 2014 by Victor Densmore that Dylan was the weak link. In March of 2014, Benjamin is back in Indiana telling Densmore that he's going to get the death penalty if he doesn't tell him where the body is. In dismissing Benjamin, Densmore says, "I'm not even interested in the reward money." We are to believe that a drug addict's statement to his girlfriends, his drug buddies, and other jail inmates are gospel. All are statements that were provided or not provided or misconstrued to the most vulnerable of our citizens. They were worried about arrest, losing custody, reward money, and thus everything the state has mustered in an ambush of these people, or to put it into their words, run to the ground. Persist until they say enough to implicate these four, even if it's inconsistent, even if it's demonstrably false. It doesn't matter. I could not summarize this part of the case better than Agent Joe Walker did on page 483. There were a lot of statements that ended up not being true. Now it's time to find the credible points of data that corroborate this scientific data that cannot be manipulated. None exist. Every single part of their life was searched for DNA evidence. None. Fingerprints. None. A gun that could have been used in the crime. None. Nothing. Not the palm print at the Bobo house. Not the crop print. Not a single thing. They have that a meth addict scratched his arm. Dylan's statement is thoroughly rebutted by the cell phone records. It's no wonder why within weeks of Jason Autry's story being released, his attorney wanted the cell records just one more time. Instead of saying Dylan's story was not true, the state has tried more creative avenues by saying it was too self-serving. After he made the statement, he was politely escorted to jail where he has been ever since. Fugitive tracking experts placed the location of death where the remains were found. He was needed to be an expert when the state was trying to solve this crime. You heard from Agent Frizzell today. When his opinion did not fit within the strictures of a manipulated testimony, he was discredited. Could not show it any better today. Agent Frizzell and I recreated Marshall Walker's map. The foundation of my entire trial has been trying to explain April 13th, 2011, and when I finally had Agent Frizzell under cross-examination, he showed the same thing. Bank records were pulled of Shane Austin to call his bluff to see where he was. They confirmed where he was. He said he had a satellite guy coming. That too was corroborated. Cell records put these four throughout Decatur County and Benton County, and it never put them in Swan Johnson Road's location. Zach Adams' phone, that apparently was with him all the time. 8:19, he's receiving incoming text. 8:17 and 8:26, Miss Holly Bobo's cell phone is on a completely different tower. Facebook showed Zach online that morning. Nothing made sense, and yet these men were on trial for their life. Zach Adams' defense attorneys were told, get the ATM video by Dr. Norton. The bank said no such software existed. The TBI agent said the ATM transaction was not covered by their videos. Someone had mislabeled them to be a BP video. Thompson couldn't even open whatever it was labeled BP. The word on an alibi. We heard Delicious. They said that this ATM was baking an alibi. Well, one thing about baking an alibi, you tell law enforcement. Why didn't they tell law enforcement about the ATM? You heard Walker and Booth say, I don't remember the last time I went to an ATM. I doubt anybody in this courtroom remembers the last time they went to an ATM.
I do.
They say that every time they gave law enforcement, they lied. They're on drugs. They're saying what the things they remembered of that day. The state says all of the things Zach Adams said, all of it under the influence of drugs, it was gospel. Terry Britt talking to an agent in jail was sarcasm. In the face of this, Jason Autry chooses a better option. Recreate his day with cell phone locates. He says he remembers 6 years earlier, while under the influence, somebody mowed his yard, somebody mowing their yard. Interesting that Brent Booth said, remember Autry said he remembers the guy mowing the yard. The state never once yielded any misbelief about the totality of his testimony. They told the court Autry told the world that day. You can read Jennifer Nichols' closing argument about Autry. And she says specifically, Jason sort of covers the whole morning, page 2,727 of the transcript. Sure, they got the gun wrong. Sure, Autry got the gun wrong. That could be fixed. The .357 became the .38 revolver with a .357 barrel became the murder weapon. Disregard Dinsmore vouching 6 days prior that it was a .38 revolver with a .357 interchangeable barrel, and he knows his guns. Disregard that he says, now my wife also threw out a .32 revolver. Disregard that. There has to be right objective data that the state needed. The defect was .36. The bullet casing next to it was a .380. It's excluded. Nobody pull your phone out to just see for yourself.
Oh, that was a challenge.
They say, oh, Bradley Strawn sold it to Shane Austin. Disregard Bradley Strawn's testimony. That never happened. Problems again with Jason Autry. Okay, the white truck was never in the picture. That was the murder getaway vehicle. Dinsmore must have just forgotten that, quote. Let's send Booth up there to, quote, nail it down. One wonders how much testimony in this case was nailed down between Dennis Benjamin, Brent Booth, Victor Dinsmore, and the rest of the agents and witnesses. And halfway through this witness's testimony, the last witness, Mitchell Hayes, I wrote down my first question. I wonder if he knew Brent Booth. 5 minutes later, we learned they had friends and have each other's cell phone. The case went to the jury. Autry does his job. He saved his life. He gave the state what they asked for. The trial judge said it was the most persuasive and credible testimony he'd ever received. Put aside what we've heard in 2025 from General Wyrick's questions, which is all of us are presumed to think co-defendants, participants, immunity agreement witnesses, they provide self-serving and incomplete truth. That's surely not what the jury heard. Put aside Brent Booth had substantial questions about the truthfulness. Put aside Kathy Ferguson flat out thinks he raped her. Put aside all that. The conviction withstood the appellate scrutiny. But then one canary in the coal mine had not been forgotten about. Buried underneath 4 terabytes of discovery, everyone seemed to have forgotten it existed. And I am discussing the video of these gentlemen at the ATM. The backstory we know is Terry Dykes and Ricky Inman were going through trying to find between 8 in the morning or 7:30 in the morning and 9:40 in the morning, trying to find locations of Holly Bobo or somebody who might be driving. The records show exhibits where they were labeling, but stopping at 9:40. They had a treasure trove of this surveillance video that they dutifully labeled and then just stopped. And here's the interesting thing. So Zach Adams fills his pro se petition, and he didn't forget what he had been told. We were at the ATM. From Dr. Norton to his attorneys, the bank records show we know you're at the ATM. We just got to find it. So it's part of the post-conviction proceedings. And this is where it's interesting. Adams is talking to somebody he would not be here without, Dr. Katie Spirko. Adams, and this is recorded and listened to by Kathy Ferguson. Kathy Ferguson testified, we heard them talking about this video, the potential of it. We heard Zach say, I remember going into the ATM backwards. When I issued a subpoena to get this, the state was advised of the subpoena, they issued it too. It was limited in time, what Ms. Ferguson says, Agent Ferguson. The state was dangled the original software, and they went and got it. We'll come back to that. Months ensue. I finally filed a motion because in the January hearing on the amended complaint about this, General Boiano brings the laptop that has the still shot of the truck going backwards. The same still shot, the state also argues, shows nothing. It showed something for them to have it on their screenshot when they argued in front of you. And at that time, Zach Adams says, that's me. No one knew about it until these pleadings. No one. Agent Booth, then General Nichols lied to you about it. They said, we remember seeing it before the trial. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate Kathy Ferguson for honoring her oath and saying Booth's mistaken because it's not true. It makes perfect sense nobody saw it. General Hagerman says he was the expert of the 4G terabyte hard drive. The 4 terabyte drive, he was the expert. He never remembers seeing it. Terry Dykus stopped surveilling at 9:40. Agent Ferguson was the lead administrative agent. She never saw it. It was only relevant in these proceedings. Walker, who was in charge of going from the bank records to seeing if they were covered by the videos, he said, I didn't see it because I didn't look. It was mislabeled by an intern. Again, Zach's lawyers couldn't open it. What does it do? And I have belabored this. All of Frizzell's cross-examination is now consistent with Walker and Reeves. There is virtually no space between them. It shows at 10:32 when Zach is on tower 39077, and then at 10:35, 39079, he's traveling on the interstate to get to their home to pick up the rest of his drug buddies.
Sorry, did that hurt?
Parsons.
Your arthritis?
That's their day.
Sorry, Bobo.
You cannot go from where Autry says they were along this route and make it to the ATM by 11:12 a.m. We've proven that. Nothing the state can ever show rebuts what the objective science reveals. All the statements in the universe, including the guy fishing whose wife was a Facebook friend and he's buddies with Brent Booth, does not rebut what the cell records, the bank records, and the ATM video show. That's why I've spent all of my time on this dry erase board. When you understand April 13th, you understand everything. I asked Agent Booth, as an investigator, is your job to tie up independently corroborating bits of data like bank transactions and cell records to say where somebody was? Answer, I didn't do that. I don't remember that. So the court must ask itself now, how can this be? And I submit it is only for the constitutional violations that took place. Your Honor, I submit first under Dellinger, I have proven that the ATM is new. It exists the same way all other new evidence exists. It was out there in the rules of quantum physics that existed. Nobody knew it. Nobody. And the fact that Agent Booth and General Nichols were not credible validates it, because Agent Ferguson and General Hagerman, you can test their credibility, validates it's new. It proves actual innocence. If I have argued actual innocence throughout this. If the court does not find by clear and convincing evidence of actual innocence, then the court's analysis falls to whether first, standalone constitutional violations warrant a new trial, and if not standalone, ineffective assistance to counsel. This evidence is largely interwoven with each other. I suggested in opening, I'll suggest again, find your facts, and then you'll understand when you apply the law how to apply a defense to the standalone grounds is whether it's been waived or whether it's been previously determined, such as if you have a suppression hearing, you can't argue in a PCR. The standalone, the Brady violation of Jason Autry's sentence was not revealed to the jury. The state had decided, General Hagerman, the state had decided they had virtually no case. They never communicated that to the defense. Autry, as a state agent, he was provided an immunity agreement, and he came to the court and he lied. I'll talk more about it briefly. Prosecutorial misconduct and or Brady violations. I'm just going to briefly touch on them. I'll get to them in a second. Jennifer Nichols telling the jury the 380 was excluded. No, it wasn't. That the truck had been put in the Dinsmore's garage. No, it wasn't. That the ATM video was buried in discovery that nobody knew and then mislabeled. And at this point, I think the court can see, when I asked Agent Frizzell, did anybody try to go back and look at this surveillance data? I mean, just think for a minute, the millions of dollars, it's in the transcript, the millions of dollars the state had for this. But they act like it's an inmate and an appointed attorney's job to find a better, more clear version of ATM surveillance data. I think I've covered sufficiently how the ATM came to be. I want to go over some of the things the state has said in regards to it. They argue both it's nothing new. We knew they were in Parsons, who cares? And also argue perhaps a canine was driving it. They argue you can't tell if it's them. You can't tell if it's their same vehicle, although to his credit, General Hagerman says, yeah, the same hubcaps, it looks very similar or similar. It's the exact vehicle they had impounded. And what nobody in the state has said is, if that's not them, what vehicle was Shane Austin in? Because the transcript shows they knew his vehicle was inoperable. And they knew the bank transaction took place. Dylan Adams said, that's me, the BP, standing there. Dylan Adams said, that's me in the car. Zach Adams said, that's me in the car. Jim Simmons testified, so far as we knew, there was no video. He's the one that subpoenaed the bank for the video. They both said they never saw it, and they said how important it was. Gonzalez remembers no conversation about the ATM video. Its importance was understood at trial. That this route that I have discussed about Autry's lie, if you read the trial transcript, and General Nichols, she knew when to object. Page 1,313. And remember, the testimony is that TBI agents, they ran the route themselves. They knew the route that Autry was going to testify about. The question discussing the way back. Question on line 10. So then where would you have gone after that? Answer, at some point in there, it was determined they were where they was, and I proceeded to make my way to 30 Yellow Springs Road. How did you make your way over there? Answer, maybe through Coxburg West, comes through at Eagle Creek. General Nichols. Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to object to when the witness says probably. If he doesn't know, I'm going to object to him just guessing and speculating about which way he went. She knew exactly what she was doing. As if she knew the route was impossible, because she's the one that says today or in November, we knew they were in Parsons, big deal. We'll come back to that when we discuss sanctions. The gun.
Sanctions? We're discussing sanctions today? That's interesting.
It's not merely what gun was used. The gun, the 380 round next to the remains, is important because it is another bit of data that validates John Walker's map. I was more worried about this because I prepared this before Agent Frizzell testified. We are now in unison with that fourth ping added to Miss Bobo's phone. But the gun, the 380, shows the 30 minutes from Shiloh Road to Truck Tower Road is where Miss Holly Bobo was killed. Everything makes sense. There's no evidence thrown out before. The evidence is thrown out after, except most of the physical remains of Miss Bobo are by her remains. Six days before the .32 revolver was pulled out, Victor Dinsmore says, I'm 100%, I know my guns. It's a .38 revolver with a .357 interchangeable barrel. Jason Autry initially said it was a .357. Why did he say it was a .357? Well, maybe he knew the Austins had a .357. Maybe it's based on discovery that a .357 had been pulled out. But when the state pulls out the .32 revolver, they don't say, maybe we're being lied to. You know what we haven't found in the 2 years of this post-conviction proceeding? The .32 revolver that Victor Dinsmore says they threw in a pond. That May 2017 recording not only revealed the gun issue. If that's not suborning perjury, I don't know what is. It's rare you see the sausage being made in an investigation. We're 6 years after. Brent Booth is asking Victor and Sandy Dinsmore, could it have happened? No, not happening. Brent Booth, I'm trying to get all these details nailed down so I can settle this damn case. His words. Victor says, there's no way that's happening. You never know what a jury will do. Booth says something interesting then. He says at the time they were hiding the garage, they were cleaning the truck out to hide it. There is no scenario where that's possible on April 13th, 2011. None. Victor says, let's go with it. Let's put the truck in the garage. In the state, the prosecutors don't say, well, I'm cleaning my hands of Victor Dinsmore. I'm cleaning my hands of Agent Booth. The words were, they were unimpressed and he was leading. Jennifer Thompson knew enough to have it transcribed, but she didn't understand Rule 803.26. She didn't understand none of it's offered for the truth of the matter. She should have cross-examined them. She should have talked in opening statements. But when she tried to bring it up, shrewd as always, General Nichols objected. Can't talk about that. When we started these proceedings, Your Honor, I did not. Oh, one thing I forgot. It's interesting. There are moments where you see how Autry recreated his story. The truck in the garage is one of them. Valerie Trout's IR discussed that the Dinsmores remember a truck being hidden there.
IR means investigative report.
But Trout said, no, it wasn't the day of. She came here and testified. It wasn't the day of. If it was the day of, I would have put it in my report. But Autry gleaned from that, oh, I need to put the truck hidden in the garage. When the case started, the first day I lost the motion in limine on Autry's testimony, I did not think I could prove to the court Autry lied. I didn't have his recanting. And it's interesting, the state said it's not credible because Autry was under the influence of drugs when he's talking to my agent at the Memphis jail. But now when this drug addict's talking to other drug addicts, trying to—
Oh, look at him smiling.
Gospel.
Why are you smiling, dude? God, he looks creepy. Creepy doesn't mean
When
guilty.
we started the case, I don't think the state had the understanding of Dylan. Because all you have to do with Dylan, and I know the court said it's going to watch the tape, you have a transcript. I can't request enough. Absorb it. Dylan says whatever they wanted him to say. And so initially, during these proceedings, I was asking, they started off with Mark Lewis. And we get into this, what I'll refer my words as hedging. Again, to the jury in 2017 is totality. Autry's plea, Autry tells the world. Judge McGinley, most persuasive, credible testimony I've ever seen. Watch what happens in 7 months. General Wyrick is asking the first TBI agent to testify, Mark Lewis. Question, this is page 238. Is it fair to say that Jason Autry's statement that he's given to law enforcement over the years, as well as Dylan Adams' statement that he's given to law enforcement over the years, are not mirror images of one another? They're not mirror images. How many homicide statements have you participated in your career as a TBI agent? I don't know what the number is, but it would be a lot. Okay. How many of those have involved a co-defendant? A fair amount. Is it typical with co-defendants pointing the finger at one another? That's not uncommon. It's typical. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they give you a little bit, try to mitigate their own involvement. That has happened, yes. Give you just enough to let you do your work without completely, and I object. I said, Your Honor, is the state acknowledging Jason Autry's statement and testimony was false? Because that will save us a tremendous amount of effort with this line of questioning if the state is acknowledging that Jason Autry's statement was false. General Wyrick, I'm nowhere close to that, Your Honor. No, sir. Now, fast forward to Kathy Ferguson. May, August. General Wyrick asked Kathy Ferguson, of the 4, who do you think raped Holly Bobo? She said Zach Adams, Shane Austin, Dylan Adams, and Jason Autry. Oh, so you think Jason Autry raped him? Yes. All because you just listened to Dylan Adams' statement. And you realize it's a lie. Now, General Nichols says 2 things on her testimony. She said, initially, I knew it was false when I watched it. She and I agree on that totally. It's interesting, though, he got incarcerated immediately after making it. I know of no other crime where you say a lie about your involvement in a crime and you're not arrested. The problem
Good point.
When Jackson and Booth are good cop, bad copping him, and saying all this, nobody had the cell phone data. To say that this is not a mirror image of Jason Autry is an offense to the mirror. Dylan has this concoction coming up over the entire night and has Autry the ringleader, has Autry throughout the day raping her, has Dylan raping her, has Zach raping her. Then when you watch it in full, you'll get to the point when they say, and they were hiding her in a basement. It's like, oh, whoops, they're talking about a trailer. So it starts all over. And you go back to the sealed transcript of the plea deal. And you think about Dennis Benjamin and what we heard from him. February, meeting Dinsmore is a God thing. He's got a friend in Indiana. March, he's lying to him, saying you're going to get the death penalty. And that's who the vulnerable one lived with. I want to say this about Autry's lie. Credibility matters. I got the pattern instructions. Pattern instruction 42.04. However, you may conclude that a witness deliberately lied about something that is important to how you decide the case. If so, you may choose not to accept anything that witness said. By the way, the dedication to this year's pattern instruction was to Judge German. Judge Riley wrote, Dickey abhorred anything he considered to be an injustice. But the state says, okay, in 2017, we said Jason Autry, total mourning, total testimony, total truth. Now they say, oh, you silly jury, you should have known better. You should have known that co-defendants do this. You should have known that it was a self-serving statement. You silly jury. I have custody cases all the time where you lose custody of your child if you lie. I don't say to the judge, I mean, listen, dads lie, moms lie. You know, it happens. Don't follow the law. The fact that their lead agent says Jason Autry was not truthful, but they find a friend of Brent Booth to come here and say on a random day crappie fishing, he remembers a gunshot going off and he remembers it echoing, and the court will listen to the exhibit. You listen to them. They're labeled how far apart they are. You listen if you hear any echoing. When he got up about halfway through, I wrote to write this question before he said anything. I wonder if he's friends with Brent Booth. Called it. We did not know, the record did not know that Dylan, this all started with Sheila Kilzer. Kudos to Mark Lewis. He testified Sheila Kilzer wanted her son to get a deal. Kudos to Mark Lewis for explaining that. Your Honor, I think this record has been aided by what Dennis Benjamin brought to the court. The court's heard several issues regarding Sheila Kilzer, Rebecca Earp, who said the truth when she was interviewed by Valerie Trout. Again, the cell phone records have Zach and her arguing throughout late at night. And she's asked, did y'all spend the night together? And she said, I honestly don't remember. But that wasn't good enough for the state. They had to nail that detail down differently than her memory. Dinsmore, and this was something that Jennifer Thompson did not bring out. there's moments when there's these witnesses lining up. And then there's these moments when they don't know the latest thing to line up with. And so Dinsmore is saying that while these guys were there buying drugs on the afternoon of April 13th, they're talking about who's going to hit it first. And there was a while where the state believed that to be true. And then the cell records come in and like, whoops, that's not true. And Autry's painted a story with cell records. The victim's already dead. And you hear Dinsmore says, oh, like, whoops, somebody forgot to tell him. But he still said it, and it made no sense. And Ms. Thompson did not isolate on this. John Walker, I appreciate Agent Frizzell. You know, if the record reflected at trial, the only thing he was wrong about was a road here and there, that would have been pretty different. I've thought about this. What's more accurate? The map John Walker prepared that the court did not allow in 2017, or the exhibit that Agent Frizzell prepared with consultation with the state that had the fourth ping missing that showed the direction of travel of the cell phone of Holly Bobo that morning. When Agent Walker was preparing Miss Thompson, his testimony was it was for an hour, she did not pay attention, and she was drinking wine. The credibility of Jennifer Nichols and Brent Booth. They're the only two who said, I saw the video beforehand. Your Honor, I submit there's credible evidence that the court received then General Nichols, who testified in November, was the least credible witness this court will ever see. She objected to some of my questions from her chair, ridiculed, deflected. It was beneath the positions she has held.
She's dreaming.
The times when she couldn't find the right answer, she attempted to gain sympathy from the court. Interesting, she said something I'd heard from Jason Autry that said, if your records reflect that, I don't dispute that. Interesting. I wonder how that came to be. At one point, not wanting to answer the question, she said, when are we going to talk about Jennifer Thompson? I thought that's why we were here. Listen to her at the trial. Jennifer Thompson, all she had a guy who measured the .380 round in the casing. And she told the jury, he didn't know to take the bullet out of the casing. Bless his heart. As if somehow the bullet's going to get bigger than .355 when it's removed from the casing. As if the sock is bigger than the shoe.
Oh my
And then when
God.
you ask these people simple questions, just think about this. Simple questions. Do you know the diameter? The honest people, Agent Ferguson said, I didn't, but I've learned it. Jennifer Nichols, no. Have you Googled it? No. Brent Booth, have you looked it up? No. Just admit we were wrong. The sanctions that the court has taken under advisement. The state is asking for the court to see that that video that is in discovery either shows nothing, or if it does show something, it shows nothing new because everybody knew we were in Parsons. They said, but Katie Spirko can't go get it because it's evidence. Which is odd. From 2011 to 2024, the state did nothing to go and get the actual recorded software. Only when Katie Spirko tries to get it through a subpoena that only I have the power to get, then all of a sudden we got a problem. And you can look through the record of this transcript to see their only defense to the ATM video is it's not clear enough of a picture to see who's in it. It's almost as if the real reason they went and got what's exculpatory evidence was to make sure if there's a clear video of it, the defense didn't have it first. And when I asked her whether it was important, whether she communicated to me first, that they went and got it, and they told the person who gets it, don't tell anybody, Jennifer Nichols says, who cares? It's an obligation.
He's loving
under
this.
the
Look
rules
at
of professional conduct.
Look at his face. He keeps looking at the lawyer, looking at the judge, looking at the lawyer, looking at the judge. Like, is the judge buying this? It sounds good. I'm liking this, but I don't know if the judge is buying this. This guy creeps me out.
Prosecutor knows of exculpatory evidence. And you saw Jennifer Nichols' attitude.
He's like,
All
Hold
of
on
these
this.
things, Your Honor, combine for these standalone issues I've addressed in my pleadings. I'm now going to address ineffective assistance of counsel, and I have
please.
12. I'll not belabor the point. Again, if
Wow.
I have not proven these are worthy enough on its face to survive the Rule 28, Section 5 defenses, these fall to ineffective assistance.
Oh my gosh, here we
Number
go.
one,
One of my.
Dylan's video. And it was odd to even watch in real time. The question was, how do you authenticate the video of Dylan's September 2014 hearing? Jennifer Thompson says, I don't know. It's pretty easy. You call one of the 3 TBI officers who were there. And it's not a confrontation issue because, first of all, it's not being asserted for the truth of the matter. And second, the defendant calls it. And look how the state, they couldn't wiggle out of it. 2, she never recreated the day of April 13th to make it sense with the objective data. 3, the gun, her question to Dinsmore was, yeah, but didn't you say it was a 38 or a 357? That's fundamentally different than you said it's a 38 revolver with a 357 interchangeable barrel. Number 4, the truck in the garage, she had the transcript. Play it at opening. Say, ladies and gentlemen, this is how the evidence has been created in this case. All of these witnesses said different things until the state said, that's enough, stop. The detail is nailed down. Gonzalez,
Devil's
Jerry
in the
Gonzalez
detail.
said she wasn't listening because she was constantly trying to get boxes because the state wouldn't tell them who their witnesses were. And the state during these proceedings said, no, that wasn't done. General Hageman tried his best. When we asked a couple of weeks ago to the state, who are your 6 witnesses? Their response to and the court seen it was, are we required to do this? Britt, technical difficulties regarding the wiretap. Britt admits there's listening that you're told they probably wiretapped your home. This idea that there was not probable cause differences, Your Honor, I've gone through this. It's not the case. There's a probable cause for an administrative subpoena, investigative subpoena, that's different by statute. Everything else, the definition of probable cause is you believe somebody did it. That's it. Think how I went through point by point by point of Brent Booth, who initially said, I never said there was probable cause. And then I get the record out. And he's like, whoa. And we went through point by point. Terry Britt lied about his alibi. Terry Britt lied about his cell phone. Terry Britt's prior knowledge of Holly Bobo. Past behaviors. Thompson could not open a video. She should have gotten IT help to open it. In fairness, she did repeatedly bring up issues to the court. The transcript of the motion hearing speaks for itself. She failed to isolate the Dinsmore when Dinsmore said, yeah, those guys were talking about who's going to hit it first. And then I didn't know what they were talking about. Now I do. I feel terrible. So she said, wait a minute. But crime's already taken place and she's dead by this time. She didn't isolate how all of these witnesses, just because they say some things that sound similar to other things, it doesn't make it true when you have people who are facilitating these witnesses back and forth. She should have played the ERP video. Honestly, I don't remember. She didn't force this fundamental question of the day, which is, they just pulled off the crime of the century. They just get back to Austin's house. The records show their call was at 8:50. They now have no idea what to do with the body. So they call Jason Autry, who comes in where they drive to the river to dispose of it. They then don't dispose of it, and they drive all the way back. Put aside they drove, and you'll watch the video of Paul Dillon's route. It's nothing but woods. But they're still driving. And then at this point, even though you cannot get to this route, Thompson does not say, does it make sense now that they say, all right, we know a satellite guy's coming at Shane's house. Let's just leave everything here and make our way to Sonic. That's what the proof that Autry bound them to. Put aside this issue. The remains were found with personal property. How'd the personal property get there? If they were throwing all the evidence out, wouldn't they have thrown all the evidence out? Instead, they made sure to keep some belongings together, and there's no explanation for how that could be. Because they say the truck was hidden in Dinsmore's before all of this. It's impossible. And Thompson never drove that point home. She should have told, number 11, she should have told Zach Adams, Zach, you're on trial for the death penalty. I need to let you know I have antidepressant medicine that's being upped up because of how I'm being treated in this case. You say,
Sorry, Boo.
well,
Come here.
that's true, but somebody was being mean to her. Is the attorney's job to not at least tell the client, you need to know my mental health is deteriorating, which is the 12th point she should have withdrawn.
You have two.
I could not say it
Beside
better
me.
than Horace Richardson.
This is the short one.
Let me see the handle.
Analyzed quantity.
That kind of handle I'm fine with.
Yeah.
It's the nice ones I don't want you to
Jennifer
use.
Thompson's problem is not that
And rinse it out and put it in under the sink and we'll use it again.
couldn't tell the jury about it because by September 2017, she'd been ridiculed. Her own co-counsel filed a motion to withdraw, saying her problem was she believed him too much. I'm curious what the state's position is. Is it that she was competent, or in the words of Jennifer Nichols, dishonest and unethical? For recording her work. Can you imagine if we didn't have the recording of Dinsmore and I was trying to tell you, Judge, I think there was perjury suborned during that day. I think Dinsmore said he didn't remember. If I didn't have a recording, they'd be like, whatever, trust us. Which brings me to the third large point.
No, out of 7.
When you reflect on this case, whose presentation provided you the most credible proof? Whose statements to you were true? I told you from the beginning in May, Your Honor, Katie Spirko won't be a witness. You look in the record right now to see if there was ever a subpoena issued for her today. Served on her today. I said it's for a nefarious purpose. Opening statement. Opening statement. The state said, if there's anything new that comes to this court, it's not going to be credible.
Wow.
I submit I have presented to the court objective scientific data that cannot be manipulated, like testimony of a fisherman 14 years earlier. The state has provided testimony from witnesses who lied about everything until their lies were nailed down to the lies of others. It was, at one point I asked a question and General Hagerman volunteered, this isn't gamesmanship. What else is it? If you don't think Jason Autry did it, then why continue to try to put him to death in pleadings? And his answer was, well, we didn't know who was going to be tried first. This is not a game. I've told you about the .32 revolver that we've never found from Dick, the second one, apparently. It's been in a pond. Think about this. The state has asked you to consider the prior evidence, which is part of the record, that Zach made all these statements to drug addicts, to friends, to girlfriends he was fighting with, and somehow confessions. They have incarcerated him since March of 2014, had the ability to wiretap every single thing he's ever said, listen to every phone conversation he's ever made. They don't have the first sentence uttering a single statement that he had any knowledge of what happened to Holly Bobo or any involvement. They say that he threatened his brother. If that's the new element for first-degree murder, every parent who has children better watch out. And look at the people who supported the scientific evidence. Look what happened to them. Terry Dicus, taken off the job. John Walker, reported. Jennifer Thompson, antidepressant medicine. And Your Honor, I submit I have shown this to you, and in this case, I have taken their witnesses and their evidence, with the exception of Paul Dillon, Alberto Davis, and Bradley Strong. No, sorry, that's their witness. And the lawyers involved. I've taken their IRs, their agents, and shown you the truth. Your Honor, we're now time for me to tell you the fourth part of this argument and the last part of this case.
Oh, good.
Which is your signature to the order.
Oh.
This procedure, this post-conviction procedure, Rule 28, and it's codified, reflects our country's dedication to the importance of our Constitution. Just as Marbury versus Madison said, some laws, however popularly passed, will not stand if they're unconstitutional. Neither will a jury verdict stand if it's the product of a constitutional violation. These provisions are not trivial. Due process, effective assistance of counsel. I will not lecture the court on the Constitution. I will just say this. It's what our men and women in uniform defend with their lives.
Oh, no.
Every judicial oath states you solemnly promise to support the United States and Tennessee Constitution. Each generation of Americans inherit the obligation to honor it. And if they don't, it will not stand. At times, it requires good and honorable men and women to speak up and stand up for it against powerful and popular forces. Is your signature going to be easy, Your Honor? It's not. The Constitution doesn't care if it's not easy. To put it in more practical sense, can TBI officers go around telling other witnesses to change their testimony to nail down with other testimony, and can prosecutors say, that's fine, let's use it? We'll find out with your signature. Can a prosecutor lie to the jury about a bullet size? We'll find out with your signature.
He's
Can a
good,
citizen
y'all.
honestly be said to have had effective assistance of counsel if the attorney was ridiculed, her first chair abandoned her, she had mental health problems, she never presented alibi evidence, she did not understand what evidence?
Wait, whoa. I didn't watch this trial. Now I want to. You're telling me, was this televised live back then? Are you telling me that the assistant counsel, did I miss that? The assistant counsel abandoned the first chair counsel? Holy
Is
crap.
important, and how to get it admitted. We will find out with your ruling. Can the state mislabel, then lie about its existence? Evidence that either exonerates or tends to exonerate the witness, and then when they find a more clear version of this evidence exists, can they surreptitiously obtain it and tell the custodian, don't say a word about it? We'll find out with your ruling. Here's the irony, Your Honor. This ruling's not going to affect me. I'm going to go back to Hickman County and divorce people. I can tell you who is waiting on your ruling.
Oh, this doesn't affect me at all. I have no skin in the game. I'm a divorce attorney. I didn't like that at all.
Every dishonest member of law enforcement and prosecutor that is faced with a weak case, your green light, if you condone this, will be the best they could have ever hoped for. And to be clear, I am not saying every law enforcement or prosecutor in this case or throughout the state is either dishonest or corrupt. We live in a state that prides itself in law enforcement, and we should. Those who do their job honorably have the utmost regard for everyone in this courtroom. It is to them this court owes the duty to not reward the bad conduct that besmirches their life's work. I would read to you from page 504, retired agent Joe Walker, to be your guiding light. If there's evidence that cannot manipulate that Zach Adams was not part of this crime, you want him out of jail, don't you? If Zach Adams was in jail unnecessarily, sir, I couldn't sleep at night. I can promise you that. Is today the first time you learned that you did not look at the right video? Yes, sir. Do you feel terrible? Again, sir, I don't know. I don't feel terrible until I know for sure. You're worried, aren't you? I would hate to think that it would be, but I'm not certain at this point. No, sir. Chaucer wrote in Canterbury Tales, if the gold rust, what chance does the iron have? If Chaucer were here, he would say it this way. If this conduct in this case is not corrected in such a high visibility case, what's going to happen to the low visibility ones? Your Honor, subject to any post-trial filings as the court requires, this largely concludes my appointment to the court under Rule 28, Section 610C2, whereby I have reviewed the pro se petition, filed the amended petition asserting other claims which the petitioner was arguably entitled to, interviewed relevant witnesses, diligently investigated and presented all reasonable claims. To say that this has been disappointing and at times disgusting and even intimidated to present to the court would be an understatement. I read no such exceptions to Rule 28 that could have made this easier for me. I would be lying if I did not say I wish such exceptions existed at times. I found myself this summer working late at night, often on this case, and moving offices across the square in Centerville. One artifact I came across was an article in the Hickman County Times from 1981, where the then assistant prosecutor resigned because he was so upset at the corrupt, dishonest judge who presided over the court.
Wow.
The prosecutor not only wrote the resignation to the judge and the DA, he allowed it to be run in the Hickman County Times. The letter reviewed in detail the horrible acts from the bench this prosecutor had witnessed. And he ended it by acknowledging resignation made public will cause a financial cost to his future that he regrets. But he would rather his children grow up poor than to witness him stand silent in the face of such corruption and dishonor from the very institutions we cherish most in our country.
Wow.
The author had a daughter who has since taught history and government, and a son who followed in his footsteps. For the reasons I have cited to you, Your Honor, I'm asking you to not stand silent either. Thank you.
Yes, sir. On behalf of the state of Tennessee, on behalf of every law-abiding citizen, on behalf of every law enforcement agency in this state, and particularly those that had anything to do with this case, whether it was from the early moments of the morning of April 13, 2011 to today, we do not care where Zach Adams was at 11:12 in the morning on April 13th, 2011. The state of Tennessee could not care less where he was at that time on that day. Out of their own witnesses' mouths, Agent Terry Dicus, the operative, the key, the essential time period in this case, in this investigation, 9:39 in the morning. He elaborated a little more and said from 8 to 10:30 in the morning. That was the key time. Their own witness. This court has heard proof since May. The jury heard proof for a week. Thousands of pieces of evidence have been admitted before Your Honor, before Judge McGinley. Often when we wrap up jury cases, we say to the jury as prosecutors, particularly cases like this, it's hard to give it to you. It's hard to turn this case over to you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We know you've been listening. We know you've been paying attention. We chose you.
We know you're going to follow the law, but it's still hard to hand that case over. Your Honor is the jury here. And the state of Tennessee has the utmost confidence that Your Honor is going to do the right thing, that Your Honor is going to follow the law that says that they have to prove beyond clear and convincing evidence, or with clear and convincing evidence, that Jennifer Thompson and Jim Simmons and Jerry Gonzalez performed below reasonable standards, not magician standards, not wizard standards, not could you maybe bribe a juror and get them to hang this thing up, but did they perform at reasonable objective standards in the moment? Not looking back all these years later with hindsight, and I'd have done it differently. I'd have done this instead. Did they meet that standard? If they did, we're done. And Your Honor can proudly put your signature on that order. If they didn't, they still have to prove that it would have made a difference. That when that jury came back into this courtroom, if they heard everything that Your Honor has heard today, plus everything that they heard during the course of the week of that trial, that they would have come in here and said, you know what? I don't know. Or just one of them. All it takes is one to say, state didn't meet their burden. I can't sign my name on that. Would any of this have made a difference? State submits that the only difference what has transpired in this courtroom since May and outside of this courtroom in an attempt to manipulate these findings, in an attempt to manipulate and threaten witnesses, that the only thing that has changed standing here today, December 29th, 2025, is we know even more certainly how guilty he is. When we started these proceedings in May, the state pointed out that he, the defendant, sits before you, a convicted murderer in the state of Tennessee. And it's louder today than it was when we started in May. Because what the petitioner is asking the court to do is to look at the proof through a straw. Please don't read all of Mike Frizzell's report. Let me just scream and carry on about how the state hid evidence. If it wasn't so tragic to sit here with the Bobos in 2025 and watch them go through this, it's comical to carry to its ultimate conclusion what the petitioner is asking the court to believe. Please don't look at all of Mr. Frizzell's report. Just focus on the fact that he put that fourth ping on a later page. At no time did Mike Frizzell today or ever in front of that jury say, just look at this little piece of what I found. Look at all of it. Everyone who testified in this courtroom before Your Honor and who testified before that jury, with the exception of a few that I will talk about, everybody from law enforcement, look at all of it. Got it all. Here it is. I would hazard to guess that never in the state of Tennessee, perhaps in any state, I don't know, but in the state of Tennessee, never has a trial been conducted where the defense team had everything the state had. Everything. So this same petitioner who wants the court to believe that we're over here manipulating witnesses and telling people what to say and hiding stuff in our bags. I don't know. They had it all. They had it all. And we were at their mercy to receive the information. We were at their mercy to receive the information that Jennifer Thompson decided to trickle in bit by bit. To stand before this court and accuse in the way that petitioner has done is offensive to not only the men and women that have worked this case, but everybody that's out there right now. Because to sign this imaginary order that the petitioner is asking the court to sign, you would by doing so say,
You're screwed.
it's okay to come into court and make up stuff. It's okay to come into court and have selective amnesia about things. This same defense attorney who put in 3,000 hours on this case shut down her whole practice. And we only know what we know from the time she was appointed. She was hired by the family for a year prior to that. So we'll never know the grand total of hours that she put into this case. It was an obsession. She put makeup on him every day. She dressed him in her husband's suits. They got along famously. They talked, they communicated, they met. The little that he would talk. And in the thousands and thousands of hours that Jennifer Thompson put into this case, she still believes he's innocent. That's clear by the fact that she came in here and testified the way she did. It is absolutely unbelievable, not plausible, not credible. I don't really remember what he told me about where he was that morning. That was her answer to my question. Well, you had conversations with him. Yes, of course. You met with him many times. Of course. You talked to all these people. Yes, of course. Okay. We're all dying to know. Because I can tell the court this as well on behalf of the state of Tennessee and on behalf of every law enforcement agent across this beautiful state, that if an innocent person is sitting in prison, we want to get into action as quickly as we can. Please, by all means, show us, tell us, point it out. He can't. He can't. He hasn't. And he never will. Perhaps the truth, if he's been paying attention, is a little bit clearer to him now than it was during the trial. The proof that this court heard, the proof that the jury heard, was that this defendant was with Jason Autry the morning of April 13th, 2011. No one from the state of Tennessee has ever presented a theory in which this defendant is the one who grabbed Holly Bobo from her carport. I would submit that that's never been a theory that's been argued, articulated. He was calling the shots. You see, none of this was supposed to go down the way it did. We'll never know, for whatever reason, what motivated them that early morning to grab Holly Bobo. We'll never know. It'd be great if there was a turn of conscience like Jason Autry and Dylan Adams had, of just giving us a little bit, but you got to go to hell to catch a devil. And that's where we've been for a long, long time.
That I like. You got to go to hell to catch the devil. Ooh, I haven't heard that in a long time, and I love it now just as much as I did then. Got to go to hell to catch that devil. Well, we've been there a long time. Honey boo, we've been there a long time too, so hurry this up.
Holly Bobo was not supposed to fight as hard as she did.
What is she supposed to stay okay? I give up. Slit it. I'm done. Take me. Is she gonna just? Oh, come on. That pisses me off.
Holly Bobo wasn't supposed to fight for her life.
Pisses me off.
Dylan Adams was never supposed to talk. The proof, it was heart-wrenching to watch. And if, again, petitioner's petition is that Jennifer Thompson should have put Dylan Adams on the stand for the jury to hear. Perhaps the only thing that would have come from that lame move was that the jury would have been out and been back with their verdict a lot faster.
Woo!
Thompson managed to keep that jury out for 2 days. If
Woo!
you had seen the manipulation and the fear of Dylan Adams, that's what this is all about. Of course, Dylan Adams is going to do what I tell him to do. Get rid of the phone, get rid of her stuff. Jason and I are going to go get rid of her body.
Wow.
You all get rid of this junk, and we'll meet up here later. And we know all this from the cell phone records. We know all this from the towers. The court has the proof, and the state has great confidence that the court can see through the smoke and mirrors, the emperor is wearing no clothes case that the petitioner has put on. The only thing that would have happened had Dylan Adams testified was a faster verdict. The only thing that would have happened had the defendant testified in his own behalf was a faster verdict. She kept that jury out for 2 days, and she kept him off death row. One of the most heinous, complex, violent, indefensible cases in this state's history. Absolutely no motive other than bragging rights. That's it. If I pull this off, stories I'll get to tell. Holly wasn't supposed to fight that hard. And gosh, she wasn't supposed to be alive at the river. The court will recall they drove to the river, an area that this petitioner was familiar with, testified to it finally in 2025, probably never told his lawyer he'd been down there before, despite the graffiti and the countless times he'd been down there fishing and doing.
Y'all, we ain't gonna watch this trial. This trial lasted 25 to 30 days. It was a 6-week trial. Wow. We can do a summary, but we ain't watching 6 weeks in one day.
What else? They took her down there to gut her body. Because that's going to float, or not float rather, that's going to sink. And then we're out of here. We're out of here. We'll drive into town. I got to get Jason back to the church at Yellow Springs because Jason Autry's got to make sure that his girlfriend sees him at lunchtime or she's going to be hopping mad. I got to drop Jason off at the Yellow Springs church. I'm going to pick up Shane and Dylan because those two knuckleheads I got to keep an eye on. They ain't the brightest, and I don't want them talking. And we got to all be in this together. All for one, one for all. And we'll get into town and we'll be seen. This will be great. And think of the bragging I'll have. Holly Bobo. The big prize. So they get down to the river. And she's still alive. This is not going as planned. Thank goodness. We've always got a gun. bullet to the back of the head. If the court wants to disregard Mitchell Hayes' testimony, of course, the court has that purview and power. Just like the jury had the purview and the power and the responsibility, and they took the oath to judge every witness's credibility to testify. And let's not lose sight of the fact that Jennifer Thompson put on quite a defense. We've all participated in criminal prosecutions where there's nothing done on the other side. An objection here or there, cross-examination here or there. That's it. Jennifer Thompson is a fighter. She was dogged and relentless and focused on one thing and one thing only. Walk him out of the courtroom. She's still proud of her work on this case. It's one of 3 featured cases on her website. If she was so distraught about her performance and her participation in the denial of his constitutional rights, why didn't she report herself? Why didn't Jim Simmons report her? Why didn't Jerry Gonzalez report her? From the river, they go back 100 miles an hour with some of what's come out of his mouth in terms of the distance they're traveling. They've got a dead body in the back of the truck. The body was supposed to be in the Tennessee River, but we couldn't do that because she was still alive. We had to shoot her, and we heard a boat. Your Honor, met that boat driver today. The state submits to you one of the most credible witnesses to ever take the stand in this beautiful courthouse or any other across the state. Here's what I heard. We do not know, sitting here today, where the defendant was from 7:50 in the morning until they land in Parsons and his phone starts pinging around 11:12, 11:15. Except we do know a little bit about what he was up to. The problem is he can't be honest about it, because to be honest about it would be to admit once and for all, as Jason and Dylan have done, his role in this. But he is praying and hoping against everything he has left, against the power of the podcast and some veiled, I don't know, threat to the court about ignoring the facts and ignoring the law, that the truth will be buried in the same way he was instructing Mr. Bates' agent, Ms. Spirko, to bury something on a piece of property. Here's where you go. Here's what you do. Don't take a phone. They might track you. He can't own up to what he's done because it's too horrible. And this game is too far gone. But we know from all of the cell phone evidence from Jonathan Reeves, who Mike Frizzell said it today, he said it during trial. I agree with him. Jonathan Reeves and I see eye to eye on this thing. The only one that Mike Frizzell takes issue with is Johnny Walker, because he said there's no empirical data to support the limb that Johnny Walker got out on. And I would remind the court that petitioner's own witness called Johnny Walker incompetent. Jerry Gonzalez smirked at the skill set and the level of incompetence of Johnny Walker when he was on the stand. The same Johnny Walker that when, in his mind, he manages to crack this case He marches into that jail and gets Terry Britt to confess to kidnapping and murdering Holly Bobo. What does he do with it? He sends an email to himself and closes his computer down and goes home for the weekend. Even he knew it was worthless. Even he knew he was being played. This same petitioner who's asking the court to free a convicted, guilty murderer wants the court to order the charges against an innocent man. Much of the petitioner's early documents and position in this case is that we got the wrong person. Terry Britt is who did this crime. Terry Britt killed Holly Bobo. There is zero proof of that. Out of Terry Dykes's own mouth, the only proof he had was that Terry Britt is a registered sex offender. We'll all agree to that. He's got a revoked license and he lives near the area. Is that really the society that we want to live in? Is that really the criminal justice system that we want to proudly be a part of? To ignore the mountain of
You know there's going to be a rebuttal, and I got to leave in a minute to take my son to work, go to the bank, and get the key to the automotive shop that my daughter's car was dropped off at. So, mods, I hate to do it to you. Y'all may have to close out the live, although I'll be remotely in the car. But, man, I hate to tell you, this is good. And I wish a lot more people were watching because both of these attorneys are freaking good. The assistant DA, the woman speaking, and his attorney is really good.
evidence
They're good.
against the convicted.
I'm loving it.
murderer
I'm eating it.
and lock up the innocent guy. Because this just didn't turn out the way it was supposed to. Holly wasn't supposed to fight so hard. Jason Autry was not supposed to testify. Dylan Adams was not supposed to talk. And just one person on that juror, needed to not be convinced by the highest standard in jurisprudence, beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. I want to make sure I get these times right because there's been a lot of attempts to, again, look through a straw and not look at everything. Terry Dykes, 8 o'clock to 10:30 is the relevant time. 11:15 to 12:15 is not relevant. He said it. Everybody said it. The state will say it again. We could not care less where this defendant, where Shane Austin, where that alleged Silverado, where Dylan Adams, couldn't care less where they were at 11:15 in the morning on April 13th, 2011. What the state does care about is where they were from 8 to 10:30. And what we know about the phone information from 9:12 in the morning to 9:50 in the morning. 9:12 in the morning to 9:50 in the morning, Zach Adams is inactive on his phone. There's no activity going on his phone. 8:55 to 9:42, Jason Autry's phone is inactive. They'd been talking before together. Their phones had been active before as they're making the plan. Hey, this has all gone amok down here. I need your help. We got Holly Bobo and this is going to be fun. But during that vital time period, out of every law enforcement officer that took this stand, regardless of who called them to the stand, that's our key point. Total inactivity. 9:50 to 12:18 p.m., 9:50 in the morning, on the tower, closest to the river, birdsong. back toward the truck stop tower and on into Parsons, this defendant is wearing those keys out. There are 25 communication activities between 9:50 in the morning and 10:30 in the morning from this defendant's phone. He is frantic, absolutely frantic, because she wasn't supposed to be alive at the river. The state wishes, for purposes of this presentation, but to be quite honest, Your Honor, more importantly for the Bobo family, the state wishes we could tell you when they dumped Holly Bobo's body. We know where it was found. Again, through the straw that the petitioner is holding and asking the court to look at the evidence through, there was a .380 casing, not bullet, despite their repeated attempts to use that word bullet, casing, found near her body. Well, guess what? There were also about 100 other items found near her body, all of which were collected. Laura Hodge with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation took the stand and testified at trial, and there were 82 items put into evidence alone while she was on the stand. That's how much stuff there was out in the area where Holly Bobo spent her last moments on earth. Lots of other ammunition was found out there and a myriad of other things. It doesn't matter. We still don't know when the body was put there. It's pretty clear from the cell phone testimony and from what Your Honor has seen in the beaten down testimony of Dylan Adams. And again, it was hard to watch as a human being. It was hard to watch him on the stand. I think we all probably caught ourselves having to remember the role that he played in this rape, kidnapping, and murder of an innocent young girl. But if you didn't believe before he took the stand that he had spent his whole life being physically, emotionally, and psychologically abused and beaten by the petitioner, it was pretty clear. The same petitioner that shot his mother, the same mother who the court heard on the jail calls, threatening him, yelling at him, to the point that he cried in the jail calls and he cried here. 14 years later. The same frantic murderer who's wearing his phone out from 9:50 to 10:30 in the morning. He's calling Rebecca Earp. He's calling Dick Adams. He's calling Joe's Video. He's calling everybody he can think of, because now he's got a truck with a dead body in the back and he's got some work to do. Where can I go and safely take this truck? Is my grandfather home? That's why he's calling Dick Adams. Will Rebecca Earp lie for me and be my alibi? No, she wasn't going to do that. And the jury heard all of the attempts of an alibi that this petitioner made, both in the days and weeks and months after Holly Bobo's murder. And I will not belabor them, but they were all blown to bits. Jason Autry, first time he was contacted by law enforcement, came up with some story, but I was working, gave them the name of the guy he was working for, exactly where it was. Law enforcement, I know, ran it to the ground, as they do, as they are emboldened and empowered and expected to do. ran it to the ground, and that man said, I hadn't seen Jason Autry since I don't know when. Their alibis were falling apart, but the lead officer was ignoring it because he was looking through a straw. The same straw that the petitioner is asking the court to use. He's wearing that phone out, trying to figure out where he's going to go and get rid of this body, get rid of the white truck, the same white truck that jurors heard witnesses testify had been driving down the Bobo Street in the days leading up to Holly's abduction. White truck, I got to get rid of it. The black truck was probably the one used to drive around and get rid of the evidence. We'll never know. We'll never know the order of things, and we will never, ever, ever, ever know unless he has a moment of weakness when Holly Bobo and her phone were separated. No one took this stand with any credible proof to say, I saw it. And that's all we have is speculation and theory. But every expert that is truly an expert, that truly has credible experience in this line of work said there's no way to tell. There's no way to tell from this data when she was separated from that phone. He's frantically trying to figure out where everybody is so he can get his story straight. And in that same day, or in the days that follow, well, let me back up. I'm sorry. Later that night, this same frantic petitioner is trying to steal cars and guns from his grandfather. And the court heard those 911 tapes. They're on a first name basis with the Adams household. The same Dick Adams who, when asked if Zach had anything to do with the murder and rape and abduction of Holly Bobo, said, if he did, he's probably good for it. Imagine that being your grandfather's response if you were accused of one of the most heinous crimes to have occurred in West Tennessee in modern time. Yeah, it does not shock me that Zach might have had something to do with this. Because that very night, Dick Adams came face to face with the frantic murderer. And nobody but family, nobody knows better than family what he's capable of. He's out of control, trying to get out of town because he's worried that it was sloppy. It did not go the way it was supposed to go. The court heard endless testimony, as did the jury, of all of the bragging. And the only really reasonable question to ask there is, why would you say those things if they weren't true? Why in the world? What is the motive? There's been absolutely no credible proof about those statements, about misunderstanding of those statements. You half expected for somebody to come in and say, oh, we were all in the same room together when he said it. These people are scattered all over the state, in various places, coming in contact with him at different times. No body, no gun. Before the body and her skull with the bullet to the back was ever found. The bizarre, frantic behavior of washing the mattress and the officers that testified to that. Those are not the scratches of a meth addict. And if they were, why lie about it? If they were, why lie about it? Because he can't face the truth. It's too ugly. The first time anything about a bank is mentioned is in September of 2014. This defendant and his meth monkey team, the A-team, whatever they like to call themselves, had been talked to who knows how many times by law enforcement as they combed this area, looking for Holly, looking for anything, anybody who knew something, saw something. Never did any of them mention until it was Shane Austin's parents in September of 2014 that said, I don't know, maybe there was a bank transaction. Okay, thanks. Your Honor's seen the still. Your Honor's seen the video. More importantly, the court has heard from everyone who has taken the stand, with the exception of the convicted murderer and his beaten down brother, Dylan Adams, that it's not worth the paper it's printed on. It shows nothing. The emperor is wearing no clothes. The murderer has no defense. Even Jennifer Thompson, who we'll never know why, what motivated her to take the stand and answer the questions in the way she did. Even she looked at it and said, I don't know what this is. No, I can't see anybody in there. Of all of the people on the planet who would have loved to have proven us all wrong, to have gotten one up on Judge Nichols, I mean, the court's heard ad nauseum about their lack of a friendship. Who would love anything more than to be able to say, you all are so dumb, here it is right here. But even she couldn't do it. The only two that see anything in there are the one that's doing life and the one that was told what to say. Every other witness, whether petitioner called them or whether we called them, I don't know what that is. It's got no value. But even for the sake of Your Honor's responsibility and the incredible job in front of this court, let's just say, for the sake of this argument, that it is clear as day that you can see the A-team in the front of that truck pulled in backward at the bank at 11:12 in the morning. Who cares? Holly's already dead. If that video had been taken between, let me make sure I get the times right from Agent Dykus, between 8 and 10:30, and you could see anything, yeah, that's a pretty good alibi. But the time is irrelevant. The state couldn't care less, nor does the law care where this convicted murderer was after he'd already killed Holly Bobo. And all that the court heard in terms of alibi from Dylan Adams and this defendant was where they were after they killed her. Don't look too closely at what the proof shows as to where we were while she was being kidnapped, raped, and shot in the back of the head at the Tennessee River. Don't look too closely. Jennifer Thompson whether she looked at the video or not. She did spend time before going to law school as a computer programmer. And I think the court can see from the evidence that was admitted, the tech savvy ability that she had. She knew what she was doing. She was an experienced attorney at the time the family hired her. She served then, she serves today on the CJA panel. Every accolade that you can have thrown at you as an attorney has been thrown at her. This one just didn't turn out the way she wanted. Whether she saw it or not, it doesn't matter. Because she had a strategy. And she had the best defense that has ever been handed to a defendant in the history of the state. And his name was Terry Britt. He looks and walks and talks like and is a registered sex offender. And it only takes one to not listen to all of the evidence and all of the facts and all of the law. That was her strategy. Imagine if this were all reversed and she had put the defendant on the stand and he had done a bang-up job at trial, just like he did before the court with his selective amnesia. Oh, I don't remember where I was. Oh, I don't know where I was. No, I didn't say that. That was just a joke. Imagine if she put him on the stand and he had testified and that jury went back and convicted him. Then the accusations from this side would be, you should have blamed Terry Britt. You've got this walking poster child. Every defendant accused going forward is going to point at him. Why didn't you put on Terry Britt? Why would you ever put on proof putting these guys together? That's why the video is useless. Even if it showed anything, even if the time helped, why would she want to put them together? Her defense was to distance him from the others, the A team, and to pin this on Terry Britt. But in addition, she didn't just sit back on her laurels with that as her sole objective. She cross-examined the fire out of just about everybody that took the stand. Can we sit here in 2025 with hindsight and say, oh, but you should have asked it this way? Sure, we can do that all day long. Thankfully, that's not what the law requires. The mandates of the law are for the court to look at the totality of the case at the time. And at the time and in the moment, and given what Jennifer Thompson and her team of 24 people that were working day in and day out around the clock while this case was in trial, their strategy was golden, easy, succinct, easy to understand. Very rarely does a defense attorney have a name to put on the some other dude did it defense. This jury got to meet him and size him up and listen to her cross-examination and take it all into account and weigh it all. The state has great confidence and faith in this court. And just as much confidence and faith in our system. A system that provided this convicted murderer with every piece of evidence that the state gathered to prove his guilt. A system that allowed his team of lawyers and experts and jury consultants and forensic experts, and I mean, the list is as long as this aisle. A system that never said, no, that's too much money. We're not going to pay for it. Everything that Jennifer Thompson requested was granted. A system that selects from the community men and women, not lawyers to second judge and second guess. Men and women of a community to listen to the law, to listen to the facts, and to never, ever, ever leave their common sense behind. A system that instructs that jury of their incredible responsibility, that you must, every one of you, all 12 of you, find beyond a reasonable doubt that Zach Adams raped, kidnapped, and murdered Holly Bobo. A system that made everything available to him. Ms. Thompson was hired by his family and then convinced the court to appoint her. She kept him off death row. And a system that allows Your Honor to look at everything, what the jury heard, with the added benefit of what the court has heard now. And the absolute unbelievable testimony that she just doesn't recall what he said, or that all of those communications with her client, every note she took, is missing. It's not plausible. The focus group that we asked her about, for a minute there I thought, well, geez, did we read something wrong? And she had zero memory of that. And the court saw from the bar graph this morning from Forrest Richardson, 40 hours spent on a focus group. Dogged, relentless, obsessed. Zach Adams was afforded one of the greatest defenses and defense presentations and defense teamwork of any accused criminal in this state, to the tune of $275,000 for Ms. Thompson alone, just during the time that she was appointed. The standard that the law requires is light years beneath what she gave him. And even her dogged, relentless, obsessed attention to detail, quest to win, desire to beat Jennifer Nichols, none of it mattered. Because in the great state of Tennessee, in these courtrooms, the law is the boss. The law that that jury followed and proudly walked back in here and returned their verdict to Judge McGinley And the same law that Your Honor will follow. Same law regarding credibility of witnesses, reasonableness, prejudice. Would any of it have made a difference? The state submits the only difference is that verdict would have been a lot faster.
Thank you, Ms. Wyder. All right, council, Rule 28 requires 60 days in order in this proceeding. I'm hopeful we get transcripts inside of 60 days. Oddly, it says I can extend it 30 days for unforeseen circumstances. I think it's quite foreseen right now that it's going to take more than 60 days. I hope you'll understand. I do have a regular docket, a regular trial docket to run as well. So, that said, I'll get it to you promptly. And I will probably file it first and give you file copies, so there's no distribution of a signed copy that I'm submitting it for. I'll wait till the clerk file it. But rest assured, the day that I file it, you get copies, at least emails get up there. All right?
Thank you.
Anything else we need to cover?
Not for the state, ma'am.
Mr. Bates?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you all for your dedication to this case.
Court adjourned. Oh my God, y'all. Y'all. He can have up to 90 days to render a verdict in this case. And my camera is hot. And I've got just a few minutes before I have to leave. Perfect timing, boo. Yay. Mods, you don't have to take over. But oh my God. So lot of things here, a lot of things to digest. So what I'm going to do is on New Year's Eve, I'm going to go live at least by noon Central Standard Time and go through 3 o'clock in the morning the next morning. So we've got 12, 13, 14, 15 hours of live minimum that I'm going to do on New Year's Eve. It's going to be a marathon. So we're going to dive into some of these cases. I'm going to hold this for that. Okay. We are going to do a deep dive on this case and we're going to really look at this. But one thing that we're also going to do is throughout the day, maybe one per hour, we are going to go back and look at all the cases that we actually covered through trial. Not all the little itty bitty motions, but if it went to trial and we covered it, we're going to deep dive it again. We're going to go back over it. We're going to look at what happened pre-trial, during trial, and post-trial. Where do some of these stand? Some of these are in appellate. Some of these appeals have already gone through. We're going to deep dive all of that. Yeah, we're going to go back through and do a year in review. Exactly what we're going to do on the trials that we covered. Also, we're going to hop into some of these trials that we're going to cover in the future. We're going to be looking at some of those. We'll play some games. We'll have some fun. I'm going to have some guests. You too can join us because I'm going to open up the stream as long as you got a camera or as long as I've personally known you for the year. If you're fairly new, then I need a camera. But I am going to open up the live for anybody who wants to come on and chat with us. So y'all, it's going to be fun. I am not going to go live tomorrow. I have until I've got to get everything out of my sister's today and tomorrow if I'm going to be able to go live on New Year's Eve. I might have to do minimal stuff on New Year's Day, but New Year's Eve, I'm not going to be at my sister's unless it's early morning. But fun court info. Yep, we're going to have some fun court, and I want all of y'all to join me. So tomorrow there will be nothing. There will be nothing until probably noonish Central Time. New Year's Eve, and my camera is going white. Come on, get my skin tone right. There we go. Because I ain't that. Y'all, look, this is white. And look what it's doing. It's matching me. Go figure. So anyway, we are going to be doing that for New Year's Eve. So tonight, I got a lot of work to get done. I'm going to be up late night. I'm going to be working all day tomorrow and try and get everything settled in tomorrow. Yay. All right, guys, y'all have a fabulous day, mods. I'll see you when we're done here. Don't go anywhere. Love and blessings. Y'all have a fabulous day. See you New Year. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care.